lot of people that are waiting for me to just mess up because a lot of teen stars do. A lot of people just make that mistake.
My daughter, Hailey, the third daughter, did.
And because she was raised Christian, I think it was an arranged marriage, I'm pretty sure.
My brother and my friend, we're going to celebrate our freedom. And what freedom means to us is the freedom from all of our shame.
Justin Bieber is crashing out. That is a narrative that is spreading like wildfire across social media after Justin, his wife Hailey.
It's clear by this point that Hailey Baldwin wanted Justin Bieber for herself. And even though Selena Gomez took him off the market, Hailey wasn't going to give up so easily.
Look at him, look at what a beautiful face. All right.
I feel uncomfortable right now. Why do you want to know this stuff from a 15-year-old boy? That's pretty weird.
Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out. Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot.
He just has the kindest, sweetest, most gentle heart and soul to me, and I've always thought that about him.
Let me introduce you guys to
Churchill, pressuring their members like Justin, Kourtney Kardashian, Selena Gomez, and so many more celebrities to pay their fair share, over $20 million a year, not paying any taxes.
My daughter, Hailey, the third daughter.
Looking back now, I'm like, it was definitely an arranged marriage. Like, they set this whole thing up.
Many often fall into the trap of thinking if they were just to become rich and famous, then all of their problems would be solved. While that may be true, in the words of the notorious B.I.G., more money, more problems.
Do you feel that people are rooting for you or waiting for you to make a mistake?
Oh, both. There's a lot of people that are waiting for me to just mess up because a lot of teen stars do. I get lost in everything.
Consumed by all the stuff.
Consumed, everything. Yeah. Everyone's pulling me in 30 different directions. So, I have to remember to take time for myself, to think about what I'm going through, to talk to people that I love about what I'm going through so that I'm not keeping everything in my head and so that I'm not having 50,000 thoughts when I go to sleep at night.
Interesting that Biggie was yet another bastion in the music industry who was knocked down in his prime. Justin Bieber is also an influential figure in the music industry who achieved everything one could think to hope for themselves. Success, fame, riches.
And then I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, there's so many tragedies that could have been avoided. But then by the end, I'm like, there he is though. Well, this is a celebration.
I just would encourage people like, hey, if you're feeling lonely, talk about it.
And yet lately, news has been constantly circulating about his demise, especially in relation to his wife, Hailey Bieber, who's become one of the most hated public figures in Hollywood.
This is a known thing that's been going on, that people have been getting paid to talk negatively about Hailey Bieber, to make fun of her, when mind you, this girl is postpartum, disgusting. I don't think most people would be able to handle that, let alone have that happen repeatedly over and over and over for years.
People claim that Hailey Bieber has stalked Justin Bieber all of his life.
Hailey would also appear at Justin's Toyota concert series performance in Rockefeller Plaza before following him to Los Angeles to attend the premiere of his movie, Never Say Never, where she can be seen watching him from the sidelines as he walks the purple carpet. Stephen Baldwin would actually pull some strings that allowed Hailey to meet Justin again, and this would give us their first photo together.
And that now Justin Bieber is crashing out, dealing with mental health and substance abuse issues.
No, not good morning. You already know. Why are you here? Come on, money. Money, 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 money. Money, get out of here, bro. Money. You don't care about people.
Is this truly the case, or a media frenzy blown massively out of proportion? And why is Justin Bieber's famous ex-girlfriend, who he dated years ago, still being discussed in relation to all of this?
Justin Bieber reposted this story to his Instagram 8 hours ago, and y'all can't tell me that this is not in reference to Selena's engagement.
In a world where celebrities and media industries have PR at their disposal and practically know how to control a narrative, why are all these negative stories circulating now? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. And through researching this video, I've found that the world of Hollywood is far more connected than I could have ever initially realized. And so many celebrities are connected through both their businesses and their religions, from the Kardashians to the Biebers to Britney Spears to Diddy. So the stories of the Biebers' demise becomes a little bit deeper as we dive through the many layers of hell of Hollywood and answer the question, is there possibly a cult behind it all profiting off of voyeuristic minds who've developed an obsession with celebrity culture, tuning into gossip and the latest updates with the trending figures of the cultural zeitgeist. While this may keep many entertained, fuel the fascination, and propel pop culture, it's also moved forward entire industries. Because behind celebrity culture, there's a hidden power. Fame is a double-edged sword. Along with fame comes the attention of the masses. Famous people have influence and access to the general public. That gives them a power that even other rich and powerful people don't have. This means that not only does the general public want access to this famous person, but other powerful people will want access to this famous person to manage, maybe even control aspects of this celebrity.
Like a chessboard. Like I know exactly what's going to happen. So when I saw Justin, while everyone told me no and everyone thought I was crazy, I knew exactly what to do, and I saw the plan until he was 18.
And this is why oftentimes fame can be the most dangerous thing a person can have. And this is the story of the Biebers and the other powerful people behind the empire who are not as often talked about. Hi friends and internet acquaintances, welcome back to another video on my channel where we cover controversial internet figures, problematic family channels, and unravel the many twisted strands weaving these situations. If you like these kinds of videos, subscribe and hit the bell so you always know when I post a new one. And if you like this video, then don't forget to give it a like. Lately, I've been leaving comments in these videos about my next upcoming video topics so that I can hear your input about the topic before I film, so keep your eye out for those in the comment section as well. This video unravels a lot of mysteries and answers many questions about one of Hollywood's most famous families, which fits right along with this video's sponsor, a hidden object mystery game called June's Journey. The game is a thrilling mystery story where you, as the main protagonist June, go on a quest to solve your sister's murder. You act as a detective in a world set in the glamour of the 1920s. And while you solve crimes and mysteries, you also explore themes like family, relationships, motherhood, love, betrayal, social injustice, and more. Along the way, you uncover many secrets of your family and meet tons of new characters, with new chapters launching every week, so there's always more to discover. The storyline sucks you in as you want to keep uncovering more secrets and following June to see what unfolds next. The world and the characters are so charming, and I love how June is not only on her own journey, but she also helps each character on their own journeys as well. My favorite thing about this game is that the main character June is a smart and independent female protagonist. June's an empathetic main character who utilizes her emotional intelligence, but also has her own depth and flaws that are shown throughout the game as well. I love that you're able to discover more about the main character and each other character through the storylines, as well as uncover different mysteries. It makes June's Journey a fun game, but one with also a lot of depth. If you'd like to unravel the mysteries within June's Journey yourself or go on a fun adventure, download June's Journey for free by clicking the link in the description or scanning the QR code shown on screen. June's Journey is available on iOS and Android mobile devices, as well as on PC. Thank you so much to June's Journey for sponsoring this video. And now let's discuss the story of the Biebers, starting with Justin Bieber himself and his initial rise to fame. Though this all starts as a story of young love between two of the most famous pop stars of our generation. Is a star born or created? Justin Bieber was born on March 1st, 1994 in Canada to mother Patty Millette and father Jeremy Jack Bieber. Justin's parents were both 18 when he was born and split up not long after his birth. Patty raised Justin Bieber as a single mother in low-income housing. Her mother and stepfather also helped her raise him.
She's a mom. She gets annoying sometimes.
Do you feel like your mom and you were growing up together?
Definitely.
I was young. I wanted to make sure that I gave him everything, that I would be the best that I could be for him.
Justin developed a love of performing from a young age and performed often in Ontario, Canada. In early 2007, when Justin Bieber was 12 years old, he performed Neo's So Sick in a local singing competition. Justin ended up winning second place. As a proud mother, Justin's mom, Patty, posted a video of his competition to YouTube for his friends and family to see. From there, Patty kept posting Justin's singing videos onto that YouTube channel. This is how Justin Bieber would end up getting discovered by record executive Scooter Braun in 2008, when Scooter turned an accidental click into a billion-dollar empire.
When you got that phone call from Scooter, did you think this is it? Oh my God, this is the moment?
When my mom said Scooter called and he lived in Atlanta, he was talking about me coming down to Atlanta, I was like, all I was thinking about is moving and, you know, seeing new people and experiencing, new things.
Scooter Braun clicked on one of Justin's YouTube videos on accident, but then contacted Patty Millette, eager to sign Justin. The thing is, at the time, Patty was allegedly reluctant to sign with Scooter Braun because of his Judaism. Patty, on the other hand, was a devout Christian. Even before having Justin Bieber at a young age and becoming a single mother, Patty had a hard life. When Patty was a child, she wanted to be a star, but she claims that her early childhood had a lot of sexual abuse and violence. Patty escaped through acting and singing, appearing on local television shows and theater productions, even signing with a Toronto-based talent agent. But when her parents were unable to make the drive to Patty's auditions, she was left devastated. That, coupled with probably all the trauma she was dealing with, caused Patty to turn to drugs at the age of 14. So Patty left home and started a relationship with Jeremy Bieber. To support herself, she started stealing and dealing. Patty's life had gone so far downhill that by the age of 17, she attempted to unalive herself and was put in a mental facility. Soon after that incident, Patty embraced Christianity. After her release from the hospital, she rekindled her relationship with Jeremy Bieber. But while Patty continued to practice her newfound religion, her relationship with Jeremy Bieber did not stand the same test of time. Patty raising Justin Bieber under the Christian religion would have a profound impact on his life, as well as become a major theme throughout this story. Patty's own generational cycles and traumas impacting Justin in his own unique way. So when Scooter Braun was asking to sign her 12-year-old child, Patty's first thought was over concerns that they practiced different religions. Patty remembered praying, "God, I gave him to you. You could send me a Christian man, a Christian label. And God, you don't want this Jewish kid to be Justin's man, do you?" Yikes. However, church elders allegedly convinced Patty to let Justin Bieber go with Scooter Braun. So at age 13, Justin Bieber went to Atlanta, Georgia to record demo tapes. Justin Bieber also began singing with Usher 1 week later.
Right after Confessions, that I was introduced to Justin Bieber. Scooter Braun, who, you know, we had worked together as he was a local promoter, and also too, he worked under Jermaine Dupri for a lot of years. We kind of a friendship, right? We built a friendship, but this would obviously create a partnership that would span us forever.
Scooter Braun and Usher formed the record label RBMG for Raymond Braun Media Group, all so they could sign Justin Bieber in October of 2008. Usher then helped Justin Bieber sign with L.A. Reid's company Island Records. In his memoir Sing to Me, L.A. Reid talked about the first time he ever met Justin Bieber. At 4 on the dot, Usher walked into my office with this adorable 14-year-old boy. This kid was beautiful, like a woman can be beautiful and men rarely are, and he turned it on as soon as he stepped into the room. Reid, having close connections with Diddy, also, seemingly, allegedly, sent Justin Bieber to Diddy's 48-hour flavor camp, where Justin Bieber spent 48 hours under Diddy's care.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives.
If you're unaware of why that might be such a major issue, you can go watch my video on Diddy to understand. Though, of course, a young teenager spending 48 hours with a grown adult alone is problematic itself without any further context. It's unclear exactly what happened during this flavor camp, but a few years later, when Diddy and Justin met up again, Diddy kept asking why Justin wasn't answering his calls.
Selling out arenas and everything, starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. But you never really got my number, so.
Right.
My
Okay.
number?
Yeah.
Justin and his mother moved to Atlanta, and Justin started recording music. And not to be too much of a cliche, but the rest is history. Justin Bieber's single Baby became one of the best-selling singles of all time. Justin Bieber was established as a teen idol by the time he was 13 and went on to become one of the best-selling music artists of all time, selling an estimated 150 million records worldwide. He's also won numerous awards for his music.
It means a lot to me. Thank you to L.A. Reid, Steve Bartos. Thank you to Usher for, being my mentor.
And by 2010, Justin Bieber had established himself as one of the biggest teenage pop sensations of all time. I know I'm using the phrase of all time a lot, but that's really the only way to describe it. Of all time in the entire history of the music industry, Justin Bieber was setting records as a teenage heartthrob. His generic pop music dominated the charts, and his iconic swoop haircut was plastered over every teenage magazine, with tons of young boys mimicking the hairstyle. If you were a teenager at the time, you know that boys were rocking the Bieber swoop haircut. I'm sure those former swoop wearing teenage boys have to endure lifelong neck problems because of constantly having to flick the hair out of their faces. When teenage girls became fans of Justin Bieber, it was claimed that they were caught with the Bieber fever. This phenomenon extended to live concerts where fans would scream, faint, and cry just at the sight of Justin Bieber. Though much of the Bieber fandom or feverdom was record-breaking, Justin Bieber was not the only famous pop star entering the scene. At the time, it could be considered the era of pop stars, with Hannah Montana reaching its ending. The third High School Musical had just released right before Justin Bieber signed with Island Records. And just a few years later, the power couple Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens broke up. But there was another new and beloved pop star who just entered the scene with her own TV show, music, and Disney brand, and her name was Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez played Alex Russo on the Disney sitcom Wizards of Waverly Place. Selena went on to have a successful music career after signing with Hollywood Records in 2008, the same year Justin Bieber signed with Island Records.
Which do you prefer, singing or acting?
Oh, that's really hard. I was an only child growing up, so I pretty much had to entertain myself. I feel like acting will always be my number one in my heart because that's where I started. But music has just been taking over my life, and it's another one of my passions that I can't picture my life without.
But that isn't the only similarity that Justin and Selena have, as their upbringings mirror one another in many ways. Selena Gomez's mother had her when she was only 16 years old. Her parents divorced when she was only 5, meaning she was also raised predominantly by a single mother.
I just wanted her to always know I'm a person. I'm gonna mess up. And I was 16, so I was even more of a lost person. So I'm kind of surprised she came out as great as she did, to be honest. But yes, I'm very proud of her. And, I played a little role in it. And then she's navigated herself into a wonderful adult. And there's been ups and downs, but it's just been an honor to be her mother.
Selena's mother had aspirations of show business and was a former stage actress, and had gotten Selena into performing when Selena was only a child, appearing on Barney and Friends. This, in my opinion, seems like a classic stage parent move, when they use their child to fulfill their own unfulfilled dreams. I always wanted to be a star but never got the chance, so now you're gonna be a star. Selena claimed her mother was really strong around me. Having me at 16 had to have been a big responsibility. She gave up everything for me, had 3 jobs, supported me, sacrificed her life for me. Selena Gomez also had close relationships with her grandparents growing up, and Selena has claimed her grandparents raised her until she found success in show business. 2 stars with similar upbringings, similar career trajectories. It's only a matter of time until these stars collide.
The one and only Justin Bieber here. Hi, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. So, can you tell me what you're wearing here, please?
I'm wearing...
Please talk about this.
I have a snake.
Stop, I know.
Selena and Justin, how twin flames burn. Selena and Justin first met after Justin announced that Selena Gomez was his celebrity crush in a July 2009 interview.
I have a crush on Selena Gomez. No one heard that.
Selena responded by saying Justin would be really cute in 2 years, Selena having been older than him at the time.
Do you like Justin Bieber? I never know how to say his name correctly. I'm sorry. Yes, I do. I love him. I think he's really cute. I think in 2 years, he's going to be cute. He's going to be really cute.
After meeting together, Justin tweeted Selena, "Good seeing you. Until next time, maybe New Year's." Then, New Year's Eve of that year, 2009, Justin serenaded Selena on stage in front of a huge audience. Justin and Selena continued to claim that they were just friends.
I don't know how you have time to date Justin Bieber.
What? Oh, brother. He's little. He's like... No, he's like my little brother.
Even though publicly and to their fans' perception, it seemed like there's more going on. They were constantly captured together by paparazzi and tweeting supportive things to one another. So people felt very invested in this love story and also hoping that they would be together. Both Justin and Selena came from humble backgrounds with stories very closely related to one another, raised by single mothers and just happening upon stardom because of their extreme likability from a very young age. Selena's girl next door image resonated deeply with her audience, who often saw her as relatable and rooted for her happiness. So while fans of Justin Bieber would have usually hated any partner that he decided to date, they were very supportive of this Jelena pairing, Justin and Selena. And by 2011, it seems that things had changed. Justin and Selena made their first appearance as an official couple at the Vanity Fair Oscars party.
He's like your little brother.
Yeah. It's a great thing to say, huh?
What do you have to say now?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you were trying to hide it still, right? But then now you've made it public. Now y'all went to the Vanity Fair party and
There's no doubt that Jelena became a power couple. The power of Jelena could be measured in a few different ways. First and foremost, their status at the time that they were dating. They were at the peak of both of their careers with massive fandom. Teenagers idolized the Jelena relationship to such an extent that people still are diehard fans of Jelena to this day. And through many ups and downs of their career, public perception of Justin and Selena has remained fairly positive, probably because of the teen idol label they received from such a young age, which could have caused hardcore fans to see these people through rose-colored lenses. The very definition of idolize is to love or admire to excess. To many, Justin and Selena were their idols, but they were also teens. When the public views you as not human, but almost godlike, mythic-like in your existence and the example that you set, yet you're an undeveloped child who doesn't have the brain capacity to understand fame and all the power and responsibility that comes along with it, well, that's a recipe for disaster. When talking about the timing of Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez becoming pop icons, it's essential to also talk about the rise of social media, predominantly Instagram, aligning with that time. Because Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber were one of the most famous among teenagers at the same time that Instagram was gaining its popularity, Selena Gomez went on to become the most followed person on Instagram. Selena also had the most liked Instagram picture, which was her drinking a Coke. Though it now says #ad, the original photo did not disclose that it was an advertisement, which I do think is interesting. The previous record for the most liked Instagram photo was by Justin Bieber, and it was a photo of him and Selena kissing. While the Kardashians did take over Instagram essentially, in 2023, Selena Gomez became the first person to surpass 400 million followers, showcasing the long-lasting dominance of the pop star's fandom. An NPR podcast marked the year 2022 as the year where celebrity gossip became a part of mainstream news, which led many to wonder, are we in too deep as celebrity fans?
In 2022, a lot of what we might have once considered celebrity gossip were big stories in mainstream news.
Now there's been a shift. Celebrity gossip is circulating in the general public's news space. The question is, what happens when teenagers grow up with their daily lives broadcasted as mainstream news? The trouble between Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez could explain this phenomenon. As simply put, these cannot be healthy conditions for anyone to grow up under.
Everyone, like, there's a lot of people that are waiting for me to just mess up because a lot of teen stars do. You know, a lot of people just make that mistake and they end up getting into drugs or alcohol or make that mistake of...
There's a long list of crack-ups.
Oh,
we
yeah.
could go through it, right?
We could, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So what's actually going to keep you from being one of those crack-ups?
I think it is remembering what is important, because sometimes you get lost. I mean, I find even sometimes I get lost in everything.
In November of 2012, Justin and Selena had their first of many breakups.
Now I remember last time you were here, you were with Justin Bieber. And
I was with a Justin Bieber?
Well, yeah, you were with a Justin Bieber. And is that's not going on now?
No, I'm
you're
single,
fine.
yeah.
You're fine.
I'm
I think,
so good.
Good, yeah. I think you're fine. See the crowd. Now, the last time he was on, he and I got into a conversation, and he said something, and I said something, and then he said something, and I said something, and I made him cry.
Well, then that makes two of us.
Though the split was never announced to the public, rumors and gossip circulated in the news, with allegations of cheating, claiming that Selena had seen something on Justin's phone. Once this breakup commenced, Justin entered his bad boy era, or as I like to call it, his brat era. Following their breakup, Jelena became an emotional roller coaster over the next few years. Justin spiraled, shedding his boy next door persona while transitioning into adulthood, all with the public following his every move extremely closely. While Justin Bieber had encountered some trouble in the past and had never been a well-behaved kid necessarily, for example, he was accused of assaulting a minor at laser tag in 2010, pulled over for leading a 3-car motorcade after cutting off a police officer in 2011, and allegedly kicking and punching paparazzi while leaving the mall in 2012. His reputation was kept clean for the most part for a teenager experiencing an unprecedented amount of fame and wealth. However, following Justin Bieber's brief appearance on CSI,
Stop talking to me like I am some kid. I brought you in. And I ain't taught you everything, you little punk.
the show's lead actress, Marg Helgenberger, explained how Justin Bieber's growing angst could be his downfall. I shouldn't be saying this, but he was kind of a brat. He was very nice to me, but he locked one of the producers in a closet, and he put his fist through a cake that was on the actor's table. A week after media outlets confirmed Jelena's breakup, Justin accepted a Jubilee Medal from the Canadian Prime Minister wearing overalls and a backwards hat. Entering into 2013, Justin posted an Instagram photo mooning all of his fans, which is something maybe kind of commonplace for an average teenage dude, but given millions of fans, a record label, and millions of dollars on the line, and a major controversy is born. During a performance in London, Justin arrived 2 hours late because he allegedly refused to stop playing video games. Now, again, think of all the teenage boys that you might have in your own family circle who have a hard time with putting down video games. It seems like a fairly common thing, maybe its own separate problem, of course, but Justin was thrust into the spotlight with this pressure of millions of fans that he had to now go on tour and perform in front of nightly. He couldn't be a normal teenage boy who just wanted to play video games. And when he did want to do that, it put other people's jobs in danger, adults. So they had to force him to go on stage and sing and dance instead of be a normal teenage boy, and then of course go to tabloids and complain about it because he was a brat. One O2 Arena worker told The Sun he was arguing with members of his management, his family. It was a really uncomfortable atmosphere. His attitude was, I'm the star and I can do what I want. After his performance in London, paparazzi hounded him outside of his hotel to the point where it looked like it was difficult for him to leave the building. After struggling to get into the car, with his bodyguard having to push some paparazzi out of the way, the paparazzi started hurtling insults at them. So Justin Bieber jumped out of the car and started fighting back.
Yeah, give us some space, guys. We gotta get right there. Okay. Just what's up? What'd you say? You're watching, man. What'd you say? You're watching. Beat the out of you. Lose your belt. Lose your
All of these incidents were labeled in tabloids as Justin's misbehavior, when in retrospect and in hindsight, it seems like a reasonable way to act when fame is put onto you as a teenager and you want to just be normal maybe for a little bit. Yet paparazzi won't even allow you to leave your hotel. You have to sing and dance nightly and can never get a break. Any sort of teenage mistakes that a normal person would make are amplified and viewed by millions. So the pressure is amplified. It doesn't seem like anyone would be able to truly grow and mature in that environment. But during this time, there were definitely more silly antics that took place. Justin adopted a pet monkey irresponsibly and then had to leave that pet monkey in Germany after failing to have the necessary documentation to bring the animal out of the Munich airport. Over time, there was noticeably more and more of a bad boy edge taking place, Bieber rebelling against the restraints placed on him. He got rid of his classic swoop and started to get more and more tattoos. While visiting Amsterdam, Justin booked a tour at the Anne Frank House Museum. Anne Frank was a Jewish girl who became one of the most well-known victims of the Holocaust. This was due to the diary that she kept while hiding from the Nazis during World War II. While at the museum, Justin wrote in the guest book about Anne Frank, who was a Jewish girl who went through that extreme trauma. Truly inspiring to be able to come here. Anne was a great girl. Hopefully, she would have been a believer. After all the negative publicity and backlash, Justin Bieber was booed on stage at the Billboard Music Awards.
Justin Bieber had a good night too. You know, Carol, he performed twice, and I also thought he did a good job last night. He also won 3 awards, including the first ever Milestone Award. This is for ingenuity and innovation. But I guess some people didn't quite agree with him winning, because when he walked on stage to get the award, you heard some boos, yeah, in the audience. And then Bieber, well, he had a few choice words. Let's listen to what he had to say. Oh, well, you can hear the boos there.
You can. Bieber's neighbors at the time, including former NFL star Keyshawn Johnson, publicly complained about his reckless driving in his neighborhood in Calabasas, California. Justin Bieber would drive his Ferrari at reckless speeds through the neighborhood, endangering people around him. Weeks later, in June of 2013, Justin Bieber had another incident regarding his Ferrari when he drove it into a photographer. Fortunately, the authorities claimed there was no crime and there were no life-threatening injuries. At this time, Selena and Justin kept their distance from one another for the most part. They publicly released songs like Heartbreaker on Justin's part and Love Will Remember on Selena's part in homage to one another. And in May of 2013, they were captured backstage at the Billboard Music Awards appearing cordial. In July, footage taken on a cell phone and published onto TMZ showed a man that looked like Justin urinating in a mop bucket in the back of a restaurant. This video ends with Justin Bieber spraying cleaning fluid on a photo of Bill Clinton and saying F Bill Clinton.
We swagger, man, you know?
Following public outrage, Justin Bieber called and allegedly made amends with Bill Clinton. He then tweeted, "At Bill Clinton, thanks for taking the time to talk. Mr. President, your words mean a lot. Hashtag great guy." Years after the incident, Justin Bieber defended his decision to urinate in a mop bucket. Honestly, I think the peeing in a bucket thing wasn't as big as people made it seem. Bieber explained to Complex magazine. Imagine you hear that effing Ozzy Osbourne pisses backstage. Immediately, oh, he's a freaking rock star. As soon as I do it, oh, he's being a brat. Further backlash came when Justin Bieber was passing through China on his Believe tour. After visiting the Great Wall of China, photos emerged of an able-bodied Bieber being hoisted up and held on the shoulders of his bodyguard. This move further caused him to be labeled a diva and a brat. In November of 2013, Justin Bieber underwent the Latin America section of his Believe tour. While visiting Bogota, Colombia, Justin snuck out of his hotel to do graffiti, and police provided him with security while he did this graffiti in an area where graffiti is banned. And this mural was like a slap in the face to thousands of graffiti artists in Colombia who've endured harassment by the police. Days later, the police received a complaint of Justin spray painting the walls of the former Hotel Nacional in Rio de Janeiro. Justin Bieber had permission Justin to paint in a different facility, but moved to that one that he was not allowed to paint in. Defacing buildings in Brazil is punishable by up to 1 year in jail and a fine. So following an investigation, Justin was charged with defacing a building or urban monument, but the case was suspended after Bieber left the country to continue his tour. Justin Bieber then went to Argentina, where he ordered his security guards to beat up a photographer and steal his camera. Authorities eventually ordered Justin Bieber to return to Argentina to testify in the case. When he failed to respond, an arrest warrant was issued, and he was banned from performing in the country until his legal issues were sorted out. There was another strange incident in December of 2013 where articles started surfacing about Justin and his entourage being picked up by a limousine outside of a nightclub. While the limousine driver was driving Justin and his friends to a hotel, a passenger struck the limousine driver on his head. The driver was hit on the back of his head several times. A few days later, Justin Bieber walked into the police station and was charged with 1 count of assault, but the charges would be dismissed. Although 2013 would end as one of the worst years for Justin's career, his bad behavior spilled over into 2014. In January, Justin Bieber's neighbor at the time, Jeff Swartz, heard something banging outside of his house in the Calabasas neighborhood at around 7:30 p.m. Jeff allegedly stepped out onto his second-floor balcony and saw Justin hurling eggs at his house from below. As Jeff stepped onto his balcony and yelled, "What the hell are you doing?" Justin started aiming the eggs at him. The pair got into a verbal dispute while Justin continued throwing eggs at Jeff, and Jeff started filming and recording the whole thing.
Hey, fuck you, asshole! I got another one for you, actually. Yeah, come right over here, you motherfucker. Call the cops.
Jeff claims that the damage of Justin throwing eggs at his house ended up costing him $20,000. If you have $20,000 outside of your home that could be destroyed by the throwing of eggs, maybe you have too many nice things outside of your home in the first place. Not that I'm a Justin Bieber defender in any way. In general, the egg incident was very childish behavior, but I do feel the need to state that Justin Bieber was a child. Yet people continued to treat him like this weird in-between. People treated him like he was a real, fully grown adult with these major adult responsibilities all resting on his shoulders. And yet at the same time, because of Justin's fame and money, he could always escape any real accountability. A lot of times, the growing that we do when we're younger is through making bad mistakes and learning from them. So Justin never having to take real accountability for his actions was probably to his very detriment. Law enforcement confirmed that Jeff and his family called the authorities due to the egg incident, and deputies immediately responded. On January 14th, 4 days after the egg incident, Justin Bieber's home was raided by the police. I'm sure to look for any remaining eggs left over as evidence of the crime having occurred. 11 patrol cars were parked outside of Justin Bieber's Calabasas home. Months later, Justin Bieber pleaded no contest to 1 count of vandalism. In exchange for the plea, Justin had to complete 5 days of community service and an anger management program. A press release also stated that Justin had to pay $80,900 in restitution and to stay away from his former neighbor and the neighbor's family for 2 years. Is egg throwing that serious? Is it that serious? I mean, I get it. I get like it could be very serious, but is it? But it seems that this egg incident and the press surrounding it, all of the negative press, only caused Justin Bieber to spiral even further. Only 1 week after the police raided Justin's home, Justin was seen at, is it Set nightclub or SET nightclub in Miami? He left the nightclub driving a yellow Ferrari, and then police spotted him in a residential neighborhood. His entourage blocked the street so he could participate in a drag race. Authorities initially conducted a traffic stop for the drag race, but arrested Justin Bieber once they realized he was intoxicated. He was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence, driving with an over 6-month expired license, and resisting arrest without violence. People claimed that Bieber told authorities that he smoked weed consumed alcohol, and took prescription drugs. A toxicology report revealed that Justin Bieber had THC and prescription Xanax in his system at the time of the arrest. Following Justin Bieber's arrest, more than 270,000 people petitioned the White House to have Justin Bieber deported. Months later, Justin pleaded guilty to resisting arrest without violence and a lesser charge of driving without due care and detention. So for this incident, the only thing Justin had to do was pay a $500 fine and attend a 12-hour anger management course. Most people would never get away with that so easily. A DUI like that would be life-altering, life-ruining for them. But once again, Justin faced little accountability for his actions. As part of the plea bargain, Justin made a $50,000 contribution to a local children's charity. Around the same time as all of Justin's legal troubles, it came out that Selena Gomez was admitted into the Meadows rehab facility and spent 2 weeks in the Arizona facility. The Meadows treats people age 18 to 26 years who are struggling with emotional trauma, addiction, or dual diagnosis concerns. But Selena's representatives claimed Selena voluntarily spent time at the Meadows, but not for substance abuse. Though other outlets and sources claimed a different story at the time. Star claimed Selena was heavily into the drug Molly and was using prescription drugs like Xanax and Ambien. TMZ claimed that Selena blamed Justin for having to go to rehab. Another source told Radar her friends and family became increasingly worried that there might be a serious problem with Selena, particularly her parents. The partying was, at times, wild. They wanted to help her and they very much encouraged her to go to rehab. Others very close to her also urged her to seek professional help. That being said, Selena herself has claimed that the reason she went to rehab was due to her lupus diagnosis. She revealed to the media that she'd been diagnosed with lupus and had undergone chemotherapy. She also claimed that she could have had a stroke as a consequence of her physical illness. Although Selena rarely spoke about Justin at this time, cutting an interview short whenever his name was mentioned.
Is there something about him that we don't get or we don't understand him? And there's one story after another of, pretty outrageous behavior that we're reading about. What don't we get about him, or what is it that he's not getting out there?
Justin Bieber dedicated a large portion of his album Journals to the one that got away. I wrote the best music once my heart was broken. All That Matters was written when I was in a great place in my relationship, and at that time, she was all that mattered in my life. And Justin Bieber claimed that he still loved Selena, but that they were not in contact. As Selena faced her health challenges with her battle with lupus, Justin Bieber endured relentless media attention, all centered around his personal life. However, Justin and Selena reunited sometime in early 2014. In January of 2014, Justin and Selena were spotted out together riding Segways, and photos of the couple together at Coachella in 2014 spread online. Media outlets reported that Jelena would continue to hang out the week following Coachella, and the pair attempted to mend their relationship. But soon after Coachella, Selena allegedly found explicit messages between Justin Bieber and Kylie Jenner on Justin's phone. An alleged insider, who may or may not be Kris Jenner, claimed Selena claimed Justin, who was 20 years old, flirted with Kylie, who was 16 years old, shortly after all of them hung out together at Coachella. Selena is convinced something has gone on between Justin and Kylie. Selena Gomez and the Jenners were friends at the time, having posted Instagram photos on their shared accounts. But Selena went on to delete all of the photos she had of her and the Jenners together on her Instagram, and then unfollowed Kendall Jenner, Kylie Jenner, and then Justin Bieber from Instagram. Selena later told TMZ that she unfollowed the Jenners because they were toxic and bad influences. Selena tried to move on from the whole situation, even seen publicly flirting with Orlando Bloom. And controversy continued to follow Justin and just get worse and worse. In June of 2014, a video emerged of a 15-year-old Justin telling racist jokes regarding Black people, using the N-word with the hard R multiple times.
Father's Day.
That's just mean. That's just straight.
Why are Black people afraid of chainsaws?
Don't even say it. Don't say
Run.
it.
You can say motorcycle too.
As the video went viral, Justin issued an apology stating, "I thought it was okay to repeat hurtful words and jokes, but I didn't realize at the time that it wasn't funny, and that, in fact, my actions were continuing the ignorance." The fact that Justin's entire music career started in Atlanta through prominent Black artists, through co-opting a lot of Black style through the swag era, and then utilizing that in his brand to profit and turning around and telling racist jokes. I know Justin was young, but I want to address that matter. It also seems like there is a fully grown adult woman laughing in the background of these videos. I want to know who that person is. That's who I'm most curious about. It better not be you, Patty. Later that same month, a second video circulated showing again a 15-year-old Justin singing his song One Less Lonely Girl, except for he changed the lyrics, saying one less lonely N-word and replacing all the lyrics with extremely racist ones.
If I kill you, I'll be part of the campaign. There'll be one less lonely nigga. There's gonna be one less lonely nigga.
He apologized again for this video, saying, "Facing my mistakes from years ago has been one of the hardest things I've ever dealt with. Once again, I'm so sorry for all of those that I've let down and offended." He also claimed that his mentors, Usher and Will Smith, had reprimanded him and took action to show him how hurtful the remarks can be. You know, educated him. Only days later, after all of this controversy, both Orlando Bloom and Justin Bieber were in the same restaurant called Cipriani, sorry if I said that wrong, which is a restaurant in Ibiza. According to eyewitnesses, a fallout occurred between Orlando Bloom and Justin Bieber. It seems that all of this occurred from some weird long-standing beef from all the way back in 2012 when Justin Bieber partied with Miranda Kerr backstage at the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Though that seems very hard to believe because in the photos of Justin Bieber standing side by side with Miranda Kerr from this fashion show, he looks like a little baby. He looks like a child. So the insinuation that they partied together is just concerning. At the time, Orlando and Miranda were still married. But after the fashion show, Justin and Miranda got close, with rumors of inappropriate text messages and private dates. Orlando and Miranda announced their separation in October of 2013. And many people speculated that Justin played a role in Orlando and Miranda's failed marriage. By early 2014, Orlando Bloom and Selena Gomez started hanging out, even attending a comedy show together. Now, when Justin Bieber and Orlando Bloom met face to face, the encounter did not go well. Orlando Bloom swung at Justin Bieber, trying to punch him. All around this same time, following all of the altercations that Justin has had with his former neighbors, he tried to sell his Calabasas home and then moved into a 5-story luxury building in Beverly Hills. But Justin Bieber continued to be a problem for neighbors around him. Neighbors complained about music playing until 4 a.m., party guests loudly coming and going, people drinking on the sidewalk. Fortunately, it seems that the end of the brat era would come as Justin sought to change his ways. End of an era. Something has to change. In 2014, Justin Bieber decided he wanted to get sober when he felt like he was dying. Justin has spoken openly about his drug addiction, saying that he started smoking weed when he was 12 to 13.
First time I smoked weed was in my backyard here. Started getting really dependent on it, and that's when I realized that I had to stop. I don't think it's bad, I just think for me it can be a dependency. But yeah, first time I smoked weed, I don't suggest this, but I was 13.
Soon, Justin moved on to pretty heavy drugs, explaining how his dependence on weed led to him experimenting with different substances. Everything from alcohol to lean to pills to MDMA and psychedelics.
Tipping lean, I was popping pills, I was doing everything. It was just an escape for me.
It seems Justin is continuing a generational cycle of sorts. When you look at the path his mother set, from having aspirations from a young age of entering show business, to struggling with drug addiction, to finding spirituality, Justin endures that exact same structure in his own life, continuing the pattern his mother set.
And these are things that I think a lot of people with secure households learn at a young age. I never had that security in a family. I never had that consistency. I never had the reliability and the accountability and all these things that make you understand the way the world works. I was bad in school. I was always a class clown. I never really respected authority like that. I was like a nice kid, but like coaches didn't really like me because I was a bad team player.
His mother was a child when she raised him, and she was in a very conflicted relationship with his dad. And so there was chronic stress.
He claimed that his addiction got so bad that his security and staff would come into his room at night to check his pulse, and people have no idea how serious it got.
I felt like I was dying. My security and stuff were coming into the room at night to check my pulse. Like, people don't know how serious it got. Like, it was legit crazy scary. I basically said to myself, I'm like, God, if you're real, you get me through this season of stopping these and stuff, and if you do, I'll do the rest of the work.
Just like Justin's mother, Patty, did, he attempted to try and find salvation through religion. This is how Justin stumbled across Hillsong. Hillsong is a church known for its young, diverse array of followers, mainly through its Christian rock music, its international reach, and its supposed progressiveness. Because of these factors, especially its music, it makes sense why Justin would feel drawn to a church like Hillsong. However, throughout the years, Hillsong has been exposed for violating many of its marketed values. On the outside, Hillsong looks super progressive, but then, as you look underneath it, at the heart of Hillsong Global are really super conservative white men, and that's not what they believe, said Josh Canfield, a gay Hillsong choir leader. Josh initially believed that Hillsong was accepting of him. However, after Josh appeared on Survivor with his partner, where their affiliations with the church were broadcast nationwide, Brian Houston wrote a blog entry on behalf of the church which read, "We do not affirm a gay lifestyle, and because of this, we do not knowingly have actively gay people in positions of leadership." Actively gay? As if you can be passively gay? I mean, I've wondered that. He added that they opposed gay marriage. Josh claimed about Hillsong, "No matter how cool and how hip you think they are, at the heart of it is, come as you are, and then we'll change you." Hillsong also preaches the prosperity gospel, the idea that if you give money to God or the pastors and churches associated with God, then he'll repay you. The most common form of this is encouraging congregants to tithe 10% of their income.
Second, Hillsong Church and Brian Houston both affirm the prosperity gospel in very direct ways. The official Hillsong website, for instance, says, "We believe that God wants to heal and transform us so that we can live healthy and blessed lives." It equates being healthy and being blessed. In Brian Houston's book called You Need More Money, yes, that's actually the title, he says that we must break the bondage, guilt, and condemnation of what he calls impoverished thinking, end quote. Not only is the phrase impoverished thinking deeply offensive to Christians who are in difficult financial situations, but it suggests that all a person has to do to be rich is to change their mindset to a rich mindset. This idea sounds strangely familiar to the idea of the law of attraction, which is the new view that all one has to do to be rich and powerful and successful is just desire those things and they will come to you.
So sometimes churches can take it much further than that, encouraging you to invest as much money into churches as possible and you'll receive even more. Treating God as if it's some sort of weird pyramid scheme where the more you invest, the more you'll get raised up to the top of the pyramid, which is really similar to New Age manifestation. Ask and you shall receive. Give and you'll get back. A Hillsong college student described the teaching by saying, "If you step out in faith and make that first step with a donation, you will be rewarded and it will come back to you." That's not biblical. That's essentially a pyramid scheme. Although with pyramid schemes, at least you get employment out of it. If that's not damning enough, in 2010, founder Brian Houston claimed he earned $300,000 annually. But that same year, the Sunday Telegraph reported that the Houston Houstons had multi-million-dollar beachfront properties and $1 million tax-free church expense account. In addition to their churches across the globe, Hillsong also operated a record label for its brands. Hillsong has its own college where you can learn how to be a part of church leadership the Hillsong way, and a Hillsong channel that offers Christian content, as well as the infamous Hillsong conferences in tons of different countries. There's been credible allegations that through the Hillsong conferences, there's this sort of weird scheme where Hillsong will pay pastors $250,000 to speak at the conference as just another avenue for these people to make tons and tons of money. Hillsong also has tens of millions of dollars in tax-exempt real estate properties. A major figure in Hillsong has been, or was, Carl Lentz. Carl Lentz was a co-founder of Hillsong New York City in 2010.
Hillsong needed some boosting of their PR, right? So they get this guy, Carl Lentz, in New York. Carl Lentz is a huge mega church star.
The church had a base of operations known as the Compound in Brooklyn, New York. The Compound was notorious for hosting boozy, model-packed parties. How does boozy, model-packed parties go hand in hand with church? The easiest answer is it doesn't. It's ripe with hypocrisy, but it attracts young people, particularly young and famous people, which is exactly the type of person that Carl Lentz wanted to attract. It seems that because this religion was taught to Justin throughout his entire life by his mother, when he was going through intense ups and downs, that was the first thing he turned to. Because of that, Justin attended the City Church, which eventually transformed into Church Home, led by Pastor Judah Smith.
He is the most sacred, wonderful, holy, fulfilling person in the universe.
Church Home is like a companion to Hillsong in the ways that it attracts celebrities. Justin and Judah's relationship goes far, far back, even before Justin started attending the City Church, all the way back to 1999, when Church Home was still just a small church in Seattle called City Church, and Justin was just a little kid. In 1999, single mother Patty Millett took her then 8-year-old son Justin to see up-and-coming pastor Judah Smith in Toronto. Little did any of them know that that little boy would grow up to be one of the biggest stars. At the event, Patty purchased some recordings of Judah speaking on a cassette tape, and it's been said that she would play these recordings for Justin every night before he would go to sleep. Years later, when Justin's career started to take off, Patty reached out to Judah Smith and his wife and asked if they'd like to come see Justin Bieber in concert. Chelsea said that Patty had told her, "I don't know if you've heard of my son, but he needs some good influences in my life. Would you come?" Judah Smith, like Carl Lentz, presents himself as the young and cool pastor, trying to connect with the youth as more and more people are becoming less interested in religion overall. He, along with his good buddy Carl Lentz, had connected with a bunch of male celebrities, which has to have had a major impact on outreach to young men.
We are literally minutes away from the freedom experience with Justin Bieber.
I'm tired of religion, you know? I'm tired of religion. I'm tired of division, you know?
Statistics show that young Gen Z men are being recruited into the Christian church more prominently. Within Gen Z, almost 40% of women describe themselves as religiously unaffiliated, compared to 34% of men. But Judah Smith has gained criticism for his beliefs in the past. In 2005, the Seattle Post-Intelligencer published a piece where Judah Smith shared with them his views on abortion and homosexuality. He described abortion as murdering innocent lives in the wombs of our women. He also called homosexuality a sin that fell under the same category as murder, rape, or living with your girlfriend. Once Justin Bieber started attending City Church in LA, at the time when he was struggling and at a major low point in his life, Judah Smith introduced Justin Bieber to Carl Lentz, who Justin deeply connected with. In Carl Lentz's book, Own the Moment, Carl wrote, "I met Justin through Judah. He called me one day and said, 'I'm working with this young guy, Justin Bieber. His mom used to play my preaching to him as a kid. He's a really awesome young man. I think you can help me support him.' So over the years, Judah and I have had the blessing of being in Justin's life in many different chapters."
You know, Hillsong is a music-focused Pentecostal church, so having Justin Bieber huge get for them.
In 2008, Carl Lentz accompanied Judah Smith to one of Justin Bieber's concerts. I remember being involved in this pre-service prayer backstage and just looking at him and going, this is going to be a challenge. And that day being like, I'm going to pray for this boy to make it. When Justin reached his lowest point, he turned more and more to Carl Lentz and the Hillsong Church. And Carl Lentz turned into one of Justin Bieber's closest friends and spiritual guides. In 2013, Justin Bieber attended one of Carl Lentz's sermons, tweeting about how it made him break down. And by the year 2014, Justin Bieber and Carl Lentz were seen everywhere together as he was working on cleaning up his image. They did a pre-game prayer together with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Justin celebrated Carl Lentz's birthday with him at the 40/40 Club in New York. When he's with me, he rolls with me, Carl Lentz said.
How you guys doing? Are you guys enjoying conference, Carl? You're wearing a Hillsong college
jacket.
You see these boots? Those are very
cool. It wasn't your turn.
Off-white. These are off-white.
It wasn't your turn.
These are off-white. So these are off-white. Good to see you. Shout out Virgil. Shout out Virgil. Shout out Virgil.
The whole thing is so inspiring. The obviously the worship, the creativity, but I think like Carl was saying, some of the most powerful moments of conference have happened outside of conference. So
I want to see more of the kids in conference with these boots, though.
You want?
It's one thing that's missing, you know.
We gotta get more orange boots. They look like they're like a tangerine.
No, they're more of like a.
They're a great commission shoe.
Orange. Well said.
Yeah. Shout out Virgil.
Closer to me just is me accepting that Jesus wants to come closer to me. And so my response is I want to come closer to him. I want to live a life that's closer to God than ever before.
Absolutely. Justin?
Samesies.
Samesies. Carl?
I want to get close like that wisp is to Justin. No, I want to get better. That's why we all came.
I just want to love people more.
Carl Lentz has even had Justin Bieber stay at his home. Is that a normal thing for a spiritual leader to do? Have one of their mentees, let's say, stay at their home? If it is, then it really shouldn't be. By June of 2014, the same month that Justin's racist videos surfaced online, Justin was baptized by Carl Lentz in an attempt to cleanse his spirit. This was the final attempt to clean up his image following a year and a half of bad behavior. Carl Lentz said about this baptism, the choices he had made. He got to a place where he was like, I want to start fresh. He has had a relationship with Jesus, and his mom did a great job doing her best to plant the right seeds. But you can get to a point as a man where it goes from being your mama's relationship to yours. Using Carl Lentz's connections with the NBA, he called his friend Tyson Chandler so they could use his New York City rooftop pool to baptize Justin Bieber. Chandler, who was living in New York at the time, received a call from Carl Lentz at 3 a.m. I'm like, yeah, I need to borrow your rooftop pool, Carl Lentz claimed. He's like, I can't get into the pool, but come and use my bathtub. So they baptized Justin Bieber in an NFL player's bathtub. And Carl Lentz described the baptism as one of the most special things he's ever been a part of. Lover boy era. It seemed like Justin Bieber's reconciliation with Selena Gomez also may have inspired him to get clean. Jelena were captured together holding hands and riding ATVs in Canada, which they reportedly crashed into a minivan. Justin Bieber confirmed their relationship shortly thereafter, only for the relationship to end just as suddenly as it started. Justin and Selena were seen fighting on their way to Paris Fashion Week. Selena Gomez storms out of the van before throwing her bag on the ground and looking back. Justin Bieber then exits the car and walks away without even looking at her. Later that night, TMZ reported that Justin Bieber picked up Kendall Jenner in a Rolls Royce and took her to a private dinner without Selena. Selena left Paris almost immediately after Fashion Week. She later tweeted, "We have to learn the hard way sometimes." Followed by, sometimes we think we aren't good enough, but then I realize when I think I'm alone, I have God, before unfollowing Bieber. Justin's mother, Patty, also made a cryptic tweet that read, I know you love him. I know you need love, but hashtag don't be a homewrecker. Maybe directed at Kendall Jenner? Justin struggled to get over the breakup, posting and then quickly deleting a throwback photo of him and Selena, something he would end up doing often when he and Selena would go on a break. Selena eventually became friends with Kendall Jenner, moving on from the drama surrounding a man, even going to Kendall Jenner's birthday party. But Justin and Selena remained broken up, and Justin continued to hang out separately with the Jenners, as well as a new person who entered into the picture, Hailey Baldwin. And Justin, Hailey, and the Jenners all regularly attended the Hillsong Church together. Hailey is the daughter of actor Stephen Baldwin. Her father, Stephen, is the youngest of the Baldwin brothers. The Baldwin family has deep roots in the entertainment industry, and all of Hailey's uncles are prominent actors, like Alec Baldwin. Her mother, Kenya, is the daughter of Grammy Award-winning musician Yumar Deodato. Even though Justin and Hailey started hanging out and posting photos together, Justin clarified on social media that he and Hailey were just good friends, and that he's still super single. But Justin and Hailey's relationship seemed to be getting more complicated, with Justin maybe, possibly, stringing Hailey along when it benefited him. Justin was seen going out for dinner with Hailey, and then Hailey leaving his residence the next morning. At the time, up until now, media outlets tried to pit Selena and Hailey against one another. A media outlet even suggested that Kendall was trying to set up Justin and Hailey by taking Selena Gomez on a trip to Dubai during New Year's. In the past, Justin and Selena had always celebrated New Year's together, and now Justin and Hailey celebrated New Year's together. But still, Justin Bieber was adamant on staying single and entertaining multiple women despite his growing relationship with Hailey.
Wow. Oh, you gotta move your hips at the same time. You gotta be synchronized. Move. Ready? Okay, excellent.
During Coachella of 2015, Justin Bieber was reportedly seen dancing intimately with Jose Canseco, even though both Hailey and Kendall were there with him at Coachella. And then Justin ended up getting kicked out of Coachella. That same night, a witness claimed that Justin allegedly brought girl after girl to his hotel room. Yet, out of this whole mess, when it seems like Justin was busy enough, he would still claim his love for Selena when he could. Like when he was hounded by paparazzi and told them that Selena looked gorgeous at the Met Ball. When he wasn't proclaiming his love for his former flame, Justin was seen hanging out with Hailey. One day, Jelena are captured attending a Hillsong church service together and then posting about it on Snapchat. The next day, Justin is going on another date with Hailey, though maybe Justin and Hailey simply bonded over their shared love for the same church that they both went to, Hillsong. Hailey's family had already been attending the church, and Justin was becoming more and more involved in it. In May of 2015, Justin claimed that although he's not religious, developing his faith gave him a greater sense of purpose in life. Never feel like I'm pushing anything on you, but sharing the good news I felt in my own life, Bieber wrote on Instagram. The fact that Justin Bieber has hundreds of millions of followers and is seen with the lead pastor and promoting the teachings of a specific church, you have to think that is literally millions of dollars in advertising that companies would pay for, that this church is getting in free promotion. In June of 2015, Justin posted a video of himself hanging out with Hillsong pastor Carl Lentz and Trinity Church pastor Rich Wilkerson. Later that month, Justin Bieber, alongside Hailey Baldwin, attended a week-long Hillsong Church conference in Sydney, Australia. Hillsong Church said in a statement about the conference, "Justin is here, like tens of thousands of others, as a delegate who is seeking to build stronger foundations into his life." Hillsong Church founding pastor Brian Houston commended Justin Bieber on finding his new purpose in life. No doubt, he'd probably be the first to say he lost his way in a whole lot of ways. And yeah, I think he realizes that it's now or never time to try and build better foundations into his life. Justin then goes back to Selena Gomez as the pair were captured at the Montage Hotel in Beverly Hills, California. Upon the news reports surfacing, Hailey tweets, "The devil is working extra hard today." Not long after, Justin broke down on stage at the VMAs after performing Where Are You Now and What Do You Mean, two songs written about the Jelena relationship. The next week, Justin is seen leaving the club with Hailey, a toxic never-ending cycle. Towards the end of 2015, Justin said that he would never stop loving Selena Gomez and started posting endless throwback photos of him with Selena. But despite Justin Bieber's indecisiveness, neither woman had anything bad to say about him. Selena told Elle magazine that she would forever love and support him. Selena added, "I respect him, and I think he respects me, in a healthy manner." When asked if they would get back together, Selena enthusiastically replied, "I don't know." On the other hand, Hailey credited both Justin Bieber and Jesus for keeping her grounded. In an interview with Page Six, Hailey opened up about her connections with Hillsong, where she talked about how both her and Justin Bieber were very close with Pastor Carl Lentz and his wife Laura. "They care about me as authoritative figures in my life, and I go to them with a lot of things and I ask for their advice." In 2016, things get even more complicated when Justin goes on a vacation with Hailey and for the first time shares a photo of them kissing. This was another New Year's that the two of them spent together. When describing their relationship, Hailey Baldwin told E! News that they weren't an exclusive couple, and Justin Bieber told GQ that he didn't want to rush into anything, just in case they ended up getting married one day. What if Hailey ends up being the girl I'm gonna marry, right? If I rush into anything, if I damage her, then it's always gonna be damaged. It's really hard to fix wounds like that. It's so hard. I just don't want to hurt her. But in a later podcast, both Justin and Hailey talked about how around this time, an incident ended up occurring. Hailey called it a stupid action on her part that caused the two of them to not talk and have a falling out.
When we were younger, this is a guy who was telling me to my face, "I really do think you could be the person that I marry and someone I can really see myself having a family with." And then I did something that really hurt him. And I think that kind of maybe took that idea out of his mind at that point, because he was like, "I thought she might be the person I was going to marry. And then she did something very immature and stupid, and it changed my mind about her." And I think that was obviously confusing. I was confused about stuff that it was just like a lot of like back and forth, but there was really one solidified moment where I think it damaged the idea of me for you.
Yeah, I think so too.
In March of 2016, Justin posted another throwback photo of him kissing Selena. The whiplash is brutal. During the end of Selena Gomez's 2016 Revival World Tour, she started to have panic attacks, anxiety, and depression. She canceled 34 tour dates and entered a rehab facility in Tennessee, and her family would later blame Justin as a reason for her entering rehab. Selena released her single The Heart Wants What It Wants in November of 2016, all inspired off of her toxic relationship with Justin, and gave an emotional performance at the American Music Awards. As toxic as this relationship is, think about how much money it's generated in music sales, just off of claiming that different songs that have been released are based off of their relationship. It's interesting to think about. Selena also crumpled up a fan sign that said "Marry Justin" at one of her concerts, seemingly ready to move on. Entering 2017, Selena formed another industry power couple when she went on a date with The Weeknd. When later asked if he listens to The Weeknd, Justin responded, "Hell no, I can't listen to a Weeknd song."
Can you listen to a Weeknd song? If it comes on, I can't listen to a Weeknd song. You can't?
Despite allegations that their relationship was manufactured for publicity, Selena and Abel went on to date for several months. While the couple seemed fairly happy together, Justin Bieber was seen with random models. Likely noticing that he was going down a bad path, Justin also started hanging out more and more with his pastor, Carl Lentz. Following a drunken night out, Bieber met with his pastor a few days later. And throughout the summer, Justin is constantly seen with Carl and his family, and Justin even cancels the remainder of his Purpose World Tour to prioritize his mental health. Toward the end of the summer, Hailey, Justin, and Selena are all captured attending the same church. In September of 2017, Selena revealed that she required a kidney transplant over the summer due to complications from lupus. "I'm very aware some of my fans had noticed I was laying low for part of the summer and questioning why I wasn't promoting my new music, which I was extremely proud of. I found out I needed to get a kidney transplant due to my lupus and was recovering." Her friend had donated her kidney.
"I had arthritis. My kidneys were shutting down."
She returned to the home she was sharing with her close friend, Francia Raisa.
One day she came home and she was emotional
I hadn't asked anything. I knew that she hadn't been feeling well. She couldn't open a water bottle one day. She chucked it and she started crying. And I said, "What's wrong?" And that's when she told me. And she goes, "I don't know what to do. The list is 7 to 10 years long." And it just vomited out of me. I was like, of course I'll get tested.
She lived with me in this interesting time where my kidneys were just done. That was it. And I didn't want to ask a single person in my life. The thought of asking somebody to do that was really difficult for me. She volunteered and did it, and let alone somebody wanting to volunteer, it is incredibly difficult to find a match. The fact that she was a match, I mean, that's unbelievable.
She gave me the ultimate gift and sacrifice by donating her kidney to me. I am incredibly blessed. Lupus continues to be very misunderstood, but progress is being made. After receiving a kidney transplant, patients are placed on lifelong immunosuppressants, which helps the body accept the new organ. These drugs are metabolized by the liver and kidney, and introducing substances into the body can add additional strain on these organs, increasing the risk of damage, toxicity, or complications. On October 24th, Justin and Selena reportedly hashed things out over at her home. Sources claimed Abel, The Weeknd, was notified and is accepting of their newfound friendship. Their reunion must have been promising, as Justin and Selena got together again a few days later for breakfast. They spent the day together, attending a church service and returning to Justin's home. But media outlets reported that Selena Gomez's family was furious that she was reconnecting with Justin Bieber, citing him as the reason she went to rehab. Justin is a vile human and will never be accepted by us, the family said, as long as she is even speaking to him in any way. It is not only disrespectful to anyone around her, but it's disrespectful to herself. I think for many friends and family members, it can be sad and disappointing to watch someone you love continually go down the same path over and over again of harming themselves, whether that's due to mental health struggles, addiction, or simply just repeating the same harmful patterns over and over again and never learning. No matter how much you want to help someone or you want them to change, you cannot force someone to change. And sometimes having proper boundaries in place is knowing when to walk away. Simply put, you cannot change a person through loving them enough if that person doesn't want to change themselves. And you being there through them continually harming themselves can just end up enabling toxic situations. And Jelena quickly proved to be a very toxic situation, as the same day they were reconciling is the same day they were recorded going through a sketchy neighborhood and allegedly buying drugs.
That's Justin Bieber for you guys. He's in Hollywood. The worst part of it too.
I mean, you can be the judge for yourself on what it looks like they're doing. The following day, media outlets reported that Selena and The Weeknd separated. On November 1st, 2017, Justin and Selena were infamously captured riding bikes together through Los Angeles. The next day, Selena attended Justin's hockey game. 2 days later, Jelena attended 2 church services together, and reports surfaced that Pastor Carl Lentz was pushing for Jelena to get back together. But it seems like several different factors got in the way of their relationship, mostly Selena's family's disapproval. On December 19th, Selena's mother, Mandy, was voluntarily hospitalized due to the stress over Jelena's reunion. Selena Gomez's friends also disapproved of Justin Bieber and refused to associate or hang out with him. There's a big crew of people in Selena's circle who really don't like Justin, and they especially don't like him with Selena, a source claimed to ET. A lot of her friends really don't like him. They think he's bad news for Selena and don't approve of the relationship. Her family was there for her to pick up the pieces that Justin had left behind. They helped her get back on her feet, and things were finally looking up for Selena. If you've been a fan of any of these celebrities, for a moment, let's just forget about that and remember that these are human beings living human experiences. They are not perfect and they are not without their own flaws that they definitely keep hidden from the public. As someone who has addiction within my family, as I'm sure many of you watching right now have experienced or are currently experiencing, the reaction that the family and friends are having when it comes to Selena, her relationship with Justin, and her recovery feels very telling. It feels like they're saying a lot without exactly saying it, but I don't want to overly assume what's happening or insert my own narratives into the situation. That being said, addiction and toxic relationships are often interlinked, with substance abuse co-occurring with intimate partner abuse in 40 to 60% of cases, although it can extend to other relationships as well. Often, substance abuse can create a codependent relationship where one partner is excessively emotionally or psychologically reliant on the other partner.
You don't need to complete someone. You want to be fully complete and yourself.
On top of that, those around can unknowingly contribute to the cycle of addiction through enabling the behavior. In an attempt to help, they may tolerate harmful behavior, provide emotional support, but allow themselves to be hurt, give over money and housing, and even give that person substances when they need it. Now, think about if you're a famous person, how easily that enabling behavior can amplify, especially if you're surrounded by the wrong kind of people with the wrong kind of intentions. I think they call it yes men, who will only give you positive or delusionally positive emotional support. They'll supply you with substances, give you any material item you want in the world. That's an incredibly dangerous environment for any single person to be in, but especially an addict. You can hear from multiple sources that Selena's friends and family were very present in her life, pushing back when they're concerned for her and not being complete yes men. But you never hear that when it comes to Justin Bieber. According to multiple sources, Selena and her mother got into a heated argument when Selena told her mother that her and Justin were attending private couples spiritual counseling. Justin wants to be a better man because he doesn't want to screw things up with Selena. He knows he's lucky to have this second chance and he's not taking it for granted. Jelena would spend New Year's in Mexico entering 2018 together. Selena's mom told the Huffington Post that Selena can live her life however she wants. Meanwhile, Justin's mom posted to Instagram defending her son. The two remained together throughout February, even Valentine's Day, and reports came out that Justin was looking to marry Selena. Justin would get on one knee and propose to Selena right now if it was down to just him and how he feels. But it's not. So he's waiting until it's the right time. Selena allegedly wanted to take things slow, but as they usually do with Justin and Selena, things soon crumbled apart. The couple reached a breaking point, ending their relationship in March of 2018, this time for good, as Selena reunited with her family. Justin Bieber struggled emotionally after his breakup with Selena, with his sister revealing that it had a profound impact on his mental health. In general, the mental health impact of breakups I don't think is taken seriously enough by the general public. Though a source claimed that a major reason why Selena left Justin is because he doesn't care about anyone but himself. The second she saw it, she walked away, especially now with her health. She knows she doesn't need him. Justin went back to sneaking around with random models, and this seemed like a coping mechanism. Breakups can create a sudden void, especially when someone loses the physical and emotional intimacy that they were used to. In this vulnerable state, engaging in sex may be a way to feel desired, validated, or in control again. Justin has addressed how his time in the spotlight has made it difficult to trust people, and how he struggled with the feeling that people are using me or aren't really there for me. He's also admitted to having a legitimate problem with sex, stating, "Sometimes people have sex because they don't feel good enough, because they lack self-worth. Women do that, and guys do that." While the back and forth of Justin constantly juggling Hailey and Selena was confusing to the public and I'm sure to those involved, there's a human aspect to it when looking at the problems Justin has admitted to dealing with. A possibility is that Justin could have been unknowingly dealing with relationship addiction. Relationship addiction is characterized by needing a relationship in order to be happy. This person cannot be alone and needs to jump in and out of different relationships in order to be happy. Or they continue to stay in the same complicated relationship full of drama, makeups and breakups, constant arguments and betrayals as opposed to being alone. The problem with being famous is that sometimes having personal issues can bleed into a public life. Your problems can become a parasocial problem because the constant back and forth of Justin Bieber and Selena, their toxic relationship, could have possibly caused their fans to feel like Justin and Selena were never truly over. That is, until they were. Justin was about to propose to Selena, at least according to reports, but she left and instead chose her family, and Justin was left alone with a void to fill, and he may have just done exactly that. Filling the void. After months of dating singer Shawn Mendes, Hailey, newly single, reconnected with Justin Bieber at a church conference in May of 2018. Justin and I were friends for a very long time, Hailey told The Times. I met him when I was really young and he was one of my best friends. Everybody knows that at a certain point in time that turned into something else. But that just happens when you're 18, 19. It was what it was. Hailey explained that after their relationship status changed, we didn't speak for quite some time and there was a lot of weirdness that went on, but that eventually they moved past that. After Justin and Hailey attended the church conference together, they went to LIV nightclub. The common denominator, I promise you, is always church, Hailey told Vogue.
In the times where Justin and I were maybe not cool with each other and didn't speak, and everybody always wondered why I ever held on to the idea or like hoped maybe it would work out, is because the conversations that we were always having behind closed doors were like, this is like a guy who has done it all, seen it all, is like super successful, toured the world, had anything that you could possibly want or need to have. And we're having pillow talk conversations of him telling me my biggest goal in life is to have like a healthy family. And in my head, I'm just like, I just don't think that that is BS because he doesn't have to say that.
And by June 29th, sources confirmed that Justin and Hailey were officially dating. And the couple were inseparable, from hanging out in Miami, attending a church service together in Washington.
The bread of life. Whoever comes to me shall not hunger. Whoever believes in me shall not thirst. That's not talking about the fact you never want fries again. You're going to want fries again.
Canoodling in Brooklyn and the Hamptons, and Justin Bieber proposed 2, maybe 3 days later after they officially started dating. I'm almost questioning, even though I verified this through multiple sources, whether I've gotten this right, because yes, Justin Bieber proposed to Hailey 3 days at most after they officially started dating. To be fair, my partner and I knew each other since we were children and got engaged fairly quickly, so who am I to judge? Justin Bieber and Hailey got engaged on July 1st.
Oh man, they've been together for 6 months and now they're getting married. What's going on?
There was a lot of narratives that were floating around. Everybody was like, oh, they got together. Because we did. We got together in June. We were engaged in July. We were married in September. So obviously, it's really, really quick. But I think for everyone who knows the story, we didn't just meet each other.
Yeah.
And I think that was something I was trying to fight against.
The couple kept the engagement a secret for a week, with media reports surfacing on July 8th. And then they quickly made their engagement Instagram official. This is Justin Bieber's full Instagram post about his engagement to Hailey. Was gonna wait a while to say anything, but word travels fast. Listen plain and simple, Hailey. I am so in love with everything about you. So committed to spending my life getting to know everything about you. So committed to spending my life getting to know every single part of you, loving you patiently and kindly. I promise to lead our family with honor and integrity, letting Jesus through his Holy Spirit guide us in everything we do and every decision we make. My heart is completely and fully yours, and I will always put you first. You are the love of my life, Hailey Baldwin, and I wouldn't want to spend it with anybody else. You make me so much better, and we complement each other so well. Can't wait for the best season of life yet. It's funny because now with you, everything seems to make sense. The thing I am most excited for is that my little brother and sister get to see another healthy, stable marriage and look for the same. God's timing really is literally perfect. We got engaged on the 7th day of the 7th month. The number 7 is the number of spiritual perfection. It's true. Google it. Isn't that nuts? By the way, I didn't plan that. Anyways, my goodness, does it feel good to have our future secured. We're gonna be better at 70, baby. Here we go. He who finds a wife wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. This is the year of favor. Justin and Hailey got married only 3 months later in September of 2018, when they allegedly went to a New York courthouse together, just the two of them. And a source claimed that they went ahead and did it without listening to anyone, which is great and all, to trust your gut and not listen too much to outside sources. But when you're dealing with a huge empire like the Bieber empire, or also the famous family like the Baldwin family, there are a lot of things at play, a lot of money at play, a lot of legal things to put in place before getting married. And marriage is not only just a thing between two people, but it becomes a huge business and financial decision when you're dealing with fame and money and all of the other aspects involved. Which makes you wonder, what was the legal situation in place before Hailey and Justin got married? Were there prenups involved? Was there a legal and financial agreement? It's been reported that Justin and Hailey did not sign any sort of prenup before getting married. Justin Bieber is currently sitting at a $300 million fortune. This is mainly through selling his entire music catalog for $200 million in 2023. He also owns a $5 million lakefront mansion in Ontario. There was his clothing brand Drew House that he owned. He owns an extensive luxury car collection, and he owns all the trademarking rights to his name. And now Hailey is pretty much automatically entitled to a large portion of these things due to the fact that they got engaged a few days after dating and then went to the courthouse together 4 months later. I mean, good for her. Not that Hailey doesn't have an extensive net worth herself. Hailey has a net worth of $20 million, though it could be argued that much of her net worth comes from after her marriage to Justin Bieber, such as her skincare line Rhode Skin, which she launched after marrying Justin and has heavily promoted since, through her celebrity status kind of being skyrocketed, though beforehand she was a nepo baby of a famous family and a model who did various modeling gigs. When evaluating Justin's sudden onset desire to get married and settle down, it's hard not to think about the cab light theory, a metaphor to describe how and when some men decide that they're ready for a committed relationship. The theory, probably somewhat offensively, compares men to a taxi cab. When a cab's light is off, it's not ready for passengers. In a similar way, utilizing the cab light theory, even if a man meets the right person, if he's not ready to settle down, his cab light is off, he will not settle down. You'll get rejected. On the other hand, when a cab light is on, a cab is ready to pick someone up. If a man is ready to settle down, then the first person he meets who fits his criteria, he will pick up and settle down with. So in this metaphor, the cab light represents the man's readiness for commitment. And according to this metaphor, men won't settle down simply because they meet the right person. It all comes down to whether or not they're ready to commit when their light is on. And that means that ultimately timing plays a huge role in relationships.
It's not fate. His light is on, that's all. What light? Men are like cabs. When they're available, their light goes on. They wake up one day and they decide they're ready to settle down, have babies, whatever, and they turn their light on. The next woman they pick up, boom, that's the one they'll marry. It's not fate, it's dumb luck. I'm sorry. I refuse to believe that love is that random. Please, it's all about timing.
In the case of Justin Bieber, many fans argue that Selena Gomez was the right person, wrong time. When Justin Bieber was finally ready, his cab light was on and he wanted marriage, external factors played a role in them eventually and finally breaking up. So to the outside world, it appeared as if Justin Bieber just settled for Hailey. And this theory is even further supported by Justin so quickly rushing the stages of his relationship with Hailey. His metaphorical cab light turned on, probably from him deciding he was ready to get married. Even looking at in his Instagram post, the Bible quote that he used, talking about he who finds a wife obtains favors from the Lord, as well as Justin's desire to start a family. He was ready to commit and then picked up the first available passenger.
I just got to a place where I was lonely and I just didn't want to do it all alone. So I just committed to working on those things and getting healthy, and luckily, Hailey just accepted me as I was.
You also wonder if his pastors and those involved with the church that Justin was attending encouraged him to choose Hailey, because both Justin and Hailey were attending these church services together and posting about it often. That's where they met. That's where they reconnected.
I must admit, in our heart of hearts, we were like, oh God, please let it be Hailey.
Did they encourage Justin and Hailey to marry? Why was that? Did they think it would help stabilize Justin? Or did they think that having Justin and another famous member in the church getting married would further involve him and that member in the church, providing the church more access to their resources and fame?
Dr. Molly, who's like the biggest angel
Love you, Dr.
on
Molly.
planet Earth.
Love you, Molly.
Being able to like unpack different stuff and having a third party person. We came to you guys a lot of times when we were like, he's wrong, no, she's wrong. Wait, actually,
We're both wrong.
we're both wrong. I don't know. I do think like figuring out how to have like a third party person help you navigate through.
Looking back, I'm pretty sure you were wrong.
According to reports, before they encouraged Justin to marry Hailey, they were encouraging Justin to marry Selena, having them attend couples counseling together. Once Selena left, everything was just swapped out for Hailey. Even Justin himself has joked about how he and Hailey were an arranged marriage.
She was raised Christian. She's like, oh, I want to, introduce you to Justin and his mom. They have similar values and believe the same thing. We think you guys would be good friends. It was definitely an arranged marriage now that I'm thinking about it. Goodness gracious.
In quick succession to Justin and Hailey getting married, Selena entered rehab for a third time, following a breakdown at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Selena Gomez was admitted to the medical center initially due to an alarmingly low white blood cell count due to her kidney transplant. According to TMZ, soon after she was admitted, she insisted on leaving, but doctors said she couldn't. She broke down and attempted to rip the IVs out of her arm. So Selena was transferred to an East Coast psychiatric facility to receive dialectical behavior therapy. Days later, Justin broke down outside his pastor's house. Several media outlets reported that Justin was sad over Selena's recent rehabilitation, but a source close to Justin Bieber told People that his public displays of emotion had nothing to do over Selena Gomez. Since Justin and Hailey's wedding was just the two of them at a courthouse, they planned to do a second wedding ceremony to celebrate with their friends and family, but they kept postponing their second wedding ceremony 3 times, which raised some red flags that maybe trouble was brewing.
This is a young man who used to play pranks on me when he was a kid, who now was standing in front of me at this wedding, saying his vows and being in love with someone who is remarkable, and I'm happy that he's found.
You have this woman to be your wedding wife.
That being said, Justin and Hailey ended up having their second wedding ceremony in South Carolina in 2019, surrounded by their friends and family in South Carolina's 5-star Montage Palmetto Bluff Hotel, and the entire affair reportedly cost $500,000. Judah Smith, the religious leader of Church Home and Justin's longtime friend / pastor, officiated Justin and Hailey's wedding.
I always wanted to be married. I always wanted a family. That was always high on my list. She's so awesome and cares about me so much. She would just love the fact that I'm happy doing what I love. Every time I do something stupid, she forgives me, so there's that.
While the marriage appeared picture perfect, to many observers and to Hailey and Justin themselves, Justin and Hailey's marriage has been described as requiring substantial effort to maintain. There's been tons of clips shared where it seems like Justin has just treated Hailey terribly, particularly in the early days of their marriage. And many people immediately compared this to Justin's treatment of Selena, since throughout the many years of them dating and the ups and downs and public breakups, there has never been public footage of Justin Bieber treating Selena Gomez as bad as he publicly treated Hailey Bieber, his wife.
It's really hard being the muse of the whole album.
What inspires me the most when I write music? Probably my ex-girlfriend.
For example, in 2020, Justin Bieber shut a car door on Hailey while she was still getting out.
What up, Jay? What's up, Justin? Good morning, Justin.
There was another incident at an arcade where Justin kind of yelled at Hailey for beating him at an arcade game.
My score? Husband's score.
Baby, I won! I've been trying!
A pet peeve of mine personally is when people act like that in a hurtful manner and then turn around and say, it was just a joke, I was just kidding. Even if Justin was acting that way as a joke, there's always a nicer way to act, especially to your newlywed wife. Overall, Justin just seemed embarrassingly immature. During the 2021 Met Gala, people were chanting Selena at Hailey when Justin and Hailey were walking out. Justin reportedly appeared angry, but offered very little comfort to Hailey. Hailey did address this situation on the Call Her Daddy podcast, saying that she wasn't upset at the time because of people chanting Selena and that she could not hear them chanting that.
The whole thing of everybody being like, oh, he's trying to tell her not to cry, that was not true. I could kind of hear it, but I didn't know if that's what was really going on until I saw the video after.
In a GQ interview, Justin admitted that the first year of marriage was really tough. He cited a lack of trust as the primary issue. In February of 2019, the Biebers were interviewed by Vogue, where they were brutally honest about the initial times in their marriage. Hailey called marriage very hard, and Justin admitted, it's been very difficult for me to trust Hailey. We've been working through some stuff. Hailey added, negative things happened that we still need to talk about and work through. Fizzled would not be the right word. It was more like a very dramatic excommunication. There was a period where if I walked into a room, he would walk out.
I just wouldn't do that to him. Imagine abandoning somebody in the middle of the worst time of their life, potentially. I'm not that type of a person. So I was going to stick it out no matter what the outcome was going to be. It was really hard.
I'm so grateful that you did.
There was days where I literally was like, I don't know if he's going to be okay. Something like really deep down inside of me was like, he's going to get through it. I just don't know. I didn't know how long it was going to take.
Yeah.
This aligns with the negative public perception of the Justin and Hailey marriage. From the very beginning, people were very skeptical about the marriage. And as things were captured in the public eye of the Bieber marriage, people assumed that their marriage required an unusually high level of work to maintain. While many examples of the relationship between Justin and Hailey look like the very definition of a toxic relationship, it could also, in my opinion, be easily defined as a codependent relationship, where one partner is fulfilling all of the emotional and psychological needs of another partner. As it often seems like Justin acts out immaturely, and then Hailey's there to pick up all the pieces and be the stable figure in his life. The problem is, as a famous person surrounded by yes men, if Justin Bieber has had people enabling him for the better part of his life, he may not know the difference.
It was like a couple months between them getting back together and him getting engaged to her. She was like, he promised me we wouldn't get engaged before November. And I was like, Hailey, he thinks it's October right now. He is great at so many things. Justin has no concept of time. And sure enough, like a month later, he was like, can you help me get a ring?
He was the first person I ever had real feelings for. When things kind of went south for a little bit and we went our separate ways, I just knew that no matter what the outcome was going to be, he was going to be somebody that I loved for the rest of my life.
The couple's relationship has been analyzed through the lens of codependency by relationship experts Louise Rumball and Dr. Terry Mack, who discussed the complex nature of Justin Bieber and why he often acts like a man-child, and why Hailey Bieber acts like a submissive spouse who constantly dotes on him. These specialists question whether Justin and Hailey's relationship actually represents couple goals, or if it's actually indicative of an unhealthy pattern where one partner completely loses themselves in caring for another.
He said something like, oh, I need her there to record when I'm recording. And we actually also saw when he was recording his music video, Yummy, he had a total meltdown and he was just saying, I just need my wife. I just need my wife. And then she's there and they're sat in the corner together. And the whole video shoot has just stopped. And they're just sat in the corner. And it was just such a weird moment to watch because it almost felt like there was actually two children sat in the corner, but like one of the children was trying to care for the other child.
For example, in the experts' opinions, Justin seems heavily dependent on Hailey for emotional support, which again falls into the realm of codependency. Hailey has so many roles in Justin's life, all wrapped up into one: wife, mother, nurse, caretaker. I'm sure many of you watching now have been in that position where someone wants you to be all of these different roles in the household, and you can't possibly manage them all, and you feel like you are crumbling on the inside just trying to. It's not a healthy position to be in.
We need to learn to soothe ourselves. And if we can't do that, we'll look to things outside of us to soothe or numb, alcohol, drugs, exercise, whatever that might be. That's really, really interesting because it's like we can now understand why he had so many substance abuse issues.
The experts also explain how ultimately Justin depending on Hailey to be okay is not love, it's codependency.
And that's one of the dangers of these codependent relationship is one person forgets about herself.
But Hailey's family history may be a contributing factor in this relationship dynamic, ultimately creating a template for her relationship with Justin. Hailey's dad, Stephen Baldwin, actually struggled with addiction and said that his addiction went away when he met Hailey's mother, which is not how that works at all.
Do you buy into the lifestyle too?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you can't be 21, 22, 23, living in New York City, Alec Baldwin's little brother, making a couple $100,000 a year and not get sucked into the fast lane. 9/11 kind of freaked me out and made me say, hey, what's this all about? My wife's a Jesus freak. Maybe it's time for me to start thinking seriously about this whole faith thing.
This may be an indicator that Hailey's parents had somewhat of a codependent relationship. Though I don't want to speculate too much, it's just a possibility. Many of us end up repeating patterns that we learned from our childhood.
They were like best friends my whole life, and they were together since they were 19. So I think that a big part of the stability that I bring into even our relationship is because I grew up in a home where I watched my parents be together.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people, that's not the case for them. And it can be damaging sometimes to grow up in a house where you don't see a loving relationship and you don't see your parents get to be together.
Another important thing to note is that Hailey's father became a born-again Christian, even establishing his own celebrity-based ministry.
Born-again Christian Stephen Baldwin, aka Alec Baldwin's little brother, aka the Jesus freak of Hollywood, has been heavily involved with the mega church industrial complex ever since he became a born-again evangelical Christian in 2001.
Became born again, accepted the Lord, baptized in water, within 1 month after 9/11.
Stephen founded Breakthrough Ministry in the same year, 2001, where he would attempt to incorporate evangelicalism, extreme sports, and celebrities into arena tour sermons called assault tours. What? Woo, assault tours.
Praise the Lord, but do me a favor. Don't ever say Stephen Baldwin and the word ministry in the same sentence again.
He went on to set up 3 ministries, including one for-profit organization called Antioch Ministry, which exists to facilitate the gifts and calling of Stephen Baldwin.
Hailey's father was the one that involved her not only in Hollywood from a young age, but in the Hillsong Church. Stephen Baldwin was the one that initially introduced Hailey to Justin Bieber, and through Stephen involving Hailey in the Hillsong Church, that was where she ended up meeting Justin Bieber continually throughout the years. Through her father, Hailey established this network that she became so deeply entrenched in that she ended up developing a relationship with her husband. Without insinuating too much, it seems that the religious adults involved around Hailey and Justin were not only encouraging them to be more involved in the church, but were encouraging them to get married and become more involved with each other from a very young age, with, of course, Justin himself calling it an arranged marriage. The podcast also does not seem to love Stephen Baldwin, insinuating that he's a very emotionally immature man. For example, Steve apparently got an HM tattoo for Hannah Montana because Miley said that he could guest star on Hannah Montana if he did, but he never ended up guest starring. The therapists on the podcast bring this up to say that maybe Hailey's father was kind of childish, which may explain why Hailey puts up with so much when it comes to Justin's behavior.
One person forgets about herself or themselves, and they're focused on the needs of the other person. The relationship is focused on making sure one person is okay.
The hosts of the podcast also think it's a pretty big deal that Hailey's constantly in the studio with Justin Bieber until the hours of like 4 a.m. It shows that she may have some pretty poor boundaries and doesn't take care of herself first.
The truth is that we each need to be our own home base. And when we make somebody else our home base, our safe place, that essentially means that we need that person either to be present or to be happy with us or to be okay for us to feel okay.
Both Justin and Hailey's religion teaches that love is patient, love is kind. Of course, at face value, this sounds like a very positive thing to practice. But just like with anything, there's a way to take that to the extreme and be so loving, so patient, so kind with someone that you allow them to completely walk all over you, to treat you and everyone around you terribly. Hailey being so patient and kind with Justin every time he makes a mistake is really more enabling him.
We need that person either to be present or to be happy with us or to be okay for us to feel okay. And that is really a core tenet of codependency, that I'm not okay if you're not okay.
Essentially, the podcast believes that it's not possible for Hailey to stay in a caretaker role and have love in the relationship last. It's interesting because there seems to be many examples when it comes to famous musicians who enter into codependent relationships with their partner as their caretaker. Immediately, I think of Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne, one of the classic caretaker-partner dynamics in media. Ozzy Osbourne, if you didn't know, is a famous musician who's struggled with addiction throughout his entire career. His wife, Sharon, has been his main support through it all. Yet even through all of that, Ozzy cheated on her. Yet when speaking about their relationship, Sharon describes it by saying, "After so long and so much that we've gone through to keep this family together, you do become a soulmate. You do become codependent on each other. You don't want to go anywhere without each other or do anything without each other."
Forgiving him every time he acts like a child or, makes a mistake. Some people would call that patience, but what that really is enabling.
The therapists believe that when it comes to the Biebers, if Hailey started setting boundaries, that would be the start to the end of their relationship. They claim that typically when the caretaker starts to get better, a codependent relationship completely crumbles. But in February of 2020, things seemed to start to take a more positive turn for Justin and Hailey, at least when it comes to what they shared publicly. And much of that Hailey attributed to, yet again, their shared faith and to the Hillsong Church. Hailey did an interview with Elle magazine where she discussed her faith. As I got older, it got harder to follow the church and the Bible because it felt very adult. I don't want to sound wrong, but it was boring. I didn't care about it anymore until I found a church I felt was geared towards young people. And for me, that was the Hillsong Church in New York City. She attributed her and Justin's strong bond to their shared faith. Being able to share that with each other, to have that bond of faith and spirituality is so critical for us. It's the most important part of our relationship. Following Jesus together, being part of the church community together, it's everything. But the relationship between the Biebers and the Hillsong Church would soon completely fall apart, as the person Justin Bieber was closest with, Carl Lentz, would come under some major controversy, church drama. The relationship between Carl Lentz and Hillsong came to an abrupt end. In November of 2020, Carl Lentz was fired from Hillsong for what was described as leadership issues and breaches of trust, plus a recent revelation of moral failures. It would end up coming out that Carl Lentz cheated on his wife, which, when exposed so publicly by a major pastor of a major famous church, is a big controversy.
I got a call and two of the people that are on my team that were working for Laura and I at the time, it just said, "We found some information and we know there's some stuff going on," and that was it. The beginning of the dam breaking. Went back to where I was living at the time to get Laura. Brought her back to the office and told her the truth as I could then.
Interestingly, at the same time that he was very close with Justin Bieber, he was struggling with a sex addiction as well as a prescription drug addiction. Carl Lentz sought treatment and went on a campaign to make amends 4 years later.
The amends part of your recovery is maybe the most special and explosive. And if you're in a private situation, you can try to make private amends. And then if you have had a public profile like I did, you can't do that.
This betrayal deeply affected Justin Bieber, as Carl Lentz later acknowledged.
People like Justin that supported us and trusted us. When you are at a certain level of fame, the only thing you have with somebody is trust. So depending on how you held that, it could be really devastating. He and a number of other people were drug into my mess.
And this is the issue with famous pastors or pastors who align themselves too closely, get too close with celebrities. The question really is, what is that pastor's intentions? What do they want out of fame? In a GQ interview without naming specific people, Justin addressed concerns about pastors who place themselves on pedestals. I've seen so many pastors put themselves on this pedestal, and it's basically church can be surrounded around the man, the pastor, the guy, and it's like this guy has this ultimate relationship with God that we all want, but we can't get because we're not this guy. That's not the reality though. The reality is every human being has the same access to God. It seemed like Carl Lentz was not the positive influence on Justin Bieber that he had spent all this time claiming to be. He was infatuated with fame, and he had just as many, if not more problems than Justin Bieber.
For sure. Yeah, fame's a drug. Typically it's said by people that have never stepped into any sort of fame, which is always an interesting factor to factor in. So when you're hearing someone opine about somebody else's fall and they're making judgments about a life that they've never lived, I always have major pause with that. So when you're talking to somebody who does get it, fame for us, and I talked about this on our podcast with my wife, people have asked me that question a lot. Like, A, did fame affect you and change you? And B, is what we're doing now okay? Because fame can be such a tricky thing. And I always say fame doesn't change anybody. I really believe that. I believe it exposes who you've always been.
Following the Hillsong scandal, the Biebers transitioned to the church home, led by Pastor Judah Smith, who, as we mentioned earlier in this video, had known Justin Bieber since he was a teenager. If you remember, Judah Smith was the pastor that introduced Justin to Carl Lentz in the first place.
I hear those words over and over. It'll be all right.
And he virtually replaced Carl Lentz's role, often seen hanging out with Justin. While Hailey long described her and Justin's shared faith and their church community as the most important part of their relationship, which you can see in the evidence itself, as that's where they met, bonded, everything in their entire relationship revolved around church. Recent public posts made by Hailey kind of show she's begun to question institutional religion more openly. After Hailey gave birth to their child, she reportedly started to look at life and religion more closely, wanting to ensure their child grows up with the right values and beliefs. She also made a public Instagram post to her millions of followers that read, "Pastors and preachers really love to just put words together with the same letter and act like it's hitting so crazy. There's bleeding in the brokenness. There's grace in the gratitude. It drives me bananas." And then people sit there like this, eating it up. Anyways, that sort of wording is known as a rhetorical trick used to draw people in because it sounds very good, but when you actually look at what people are saying, the context of the words, there isn't actually a lot of substance behind it. So as Hailey Bieber said, anyways, Hailey and Justin joined Church Home, led by Justin's longtime friend and pastor, Judah Smith. But Church Home itself is facing serious allegations and is a very controversial church. In March of 2023, an employee filed a lawsuit against Church Home and its pastor, Judah Smith, alleging that Church Home forces its staff to donate 10% of their wages or face termination. I'm just imagining how that conversation goes. Okay, here's your paycheck. So are you gonna give us 10% of that? You know, we're a church and you're a member, so you kind of have to give us 10%. Oh, you are a struggling mother of 3 and you need to feed your children? That doesn't seem very godly. Yeah, we're gonna have to let you go. The lawsuit even claims that Judah Smith quoted the Bible to imply that employees should sell their possessions and belongings rather than fail to rebate the 10% of their checks back into Church Home. So you must think if Church Home needs that 10% from their employees so badly that their employees need to sell their possessions in order to pay it, this church must be really struggling, right? Well, Marie Claire reported that in 2018, Church Home had a revenue of $20 million. You can even see from Church Home's own financial statements, they have total liabilities and net assets of over $65 million in 2020. Judah Smith does not disclose his own financial income, but in 2016, he purchased a $2.5 million mansion, which he described as an investment into Church Home's future. Church Home's lawyer sent a statement about this lawsuit in an email where he said, "The First Amendment protects a church's right to restrict employment to people who abide by church teaching, and that the church's employee handbook has included a statement on tithing for many years. Church Home believes that the Bible teaches that all Christians should tithe. Church Home intends to vigorously defend the rights of all religious institutions to live, teach, and model their faith through their employees." My question is, if Church Home is essentially forcing their underpaid employees to tithe 10% of their wages or be fired, what are they asking of their rich and famous church attendees? If they strongly believe that all Christians should tithe, and Judah Smith has strong ties to Justin Bieber's family. Judah Smith has known Justin Bieber since he was a young boy. His mom listened to his sermons every day. So what offerings is Justin giving to Judah's church? The question must be asked. Other controversies Church Home has faced is when it recently rehired someone who was facing serious allegations of rape, claiming that person, or let's call it what it is, rapist, had undergone enough restoration and reconciliation, even though the victim claimed that the rapist had not taken any responsibility for what they did. A few weeks later, even more reports came out of Church Home protecting abusers. Another victim came forward claiming a substance was put into her drink by a Church Home member, and that Church Home General Counsel Troy Anderson discouraged her from reporting it to police. Recent relationship. In 2022, both Hailey and Justin had health scares of their own. Hailey was hospitalized for having a stroke, or I guess what's called a mini stroke, and underwent heart surgery.
Basically, I was sitting at breakfast with my husband, having a normal day, normal conversation, and we were in the middle of talking. And all of a sudden, I felt this really weird sensation that kind of like traveled down my arm from my shoulder all the way down to my fingertips, and it made my fingertips feel really numb and weird. He thought I was having a stroke, so right away, he asked for somebody to please call 911 and get a doctor.
Then, only a few months later, Justin had a virus called Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, which left half of his face paralyzed.
Hey everyone, Justin here. I wanted to update you guys on what's been going on. Obviously, as you can probably see from my face, I have this syndrome called Ramsay-Hunt syndrome.
Hailey, who had just launched her new skincare at the time, went on Good Morning America to say that Justin was recovering well and that the couple was stronger than ever.
How is he doing right now?
He's doing really well. He is getting better every single day. He's feeling a lot better, and obviously it was just a very scary and random situation to happen, but he's gonna be totally okay. I feel good.
But the two of you both having such physical health scares mentally, I mean, I'm sure you leaned on one another.
I actually think it opened up a lot of really important and amazing conversation. And I think the silver lining of it, honestly, is that it brings us a lot closer, because you're going through this together, you're being there for each other, you're supporting each other, and there's just something that really like bonds you through.
Then in 2023, Justin fired his longtime manager, Scooter Braun. It was reported that Hailey Bieber led the charge in the firing.
Justin Bieber unfollowed his former manager, Scooter Braun, on Instagram, which sounds really minor.
It sounds sort of very high school.
But it is a big deal, especially for celebrities. And then the really surprising thing is after Justin did that, Scooter deactivated his entire Instagram account.
The way that looks, at least, is that Justin unfollows him and Scooter figures, I'm going to get blasted by all the Bieber fans, so let me just shut this thing down. What's really going on here? Neither side is saying, but it is very clear that there is some bad feelings.
This was around the time that Scooter Braun was receiving a lot of controversy for his treatment of Taylor Swift, where, to summarize, Scooter Braun bought out Taylor Swift's masters, so she decided, since he was kind of a bully to her in the music industry, to re-release her music under her own name, in an effort to take ownership of her masters once again. Artists Ariana Grande and Demi Lovato also left Scooter Braun's management around this same time. It was kind of surprising that Justin Bieber, who was by far the closest with Scooter Braun, and had known him since Justin was a literal child, also chose to part with Scooter Braun. And even more surprising that Hailey was reportedly the one that encouraged him to do it. Something must have occurred for Hailey to want to remove Scooter from the equation. Of course, on top of all the negative things that he'd done to other artists. Of course, there's so much extensive history of different music managers taking advantage of their clients. Since music managers have significant control over their clients' contracts, finances, and career-making decisions, that power can be abused. Mismanagement, embezzlement, and hidden fees are historically some of the ways that artists have been taken advantage of by their managers. One of the most infamous cases involves Lou Pearlman, the manager behind successful boy bands like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. While these bands generated millions and millions, Lou Pearlman was running a Ponzi scheme behind the scenes, manipulating the contracts to siphon off most of the money. It wasn't until legal action was taken that the artists actually realized that they only earned a fraction of what they were really owed. A representative for Justin Bieber told TMZ about this year of him disengaging from business relationships that the past year had reportedly been transformative. He ended several close friendships and business relationships that no longer served him. Then, in a decision even more shocking, Justin sold his entire back catalog by January of 2023, including his share of publishing, master rights, and neighboring rights to Hipgnosis Songs Capital for over $200 million. Hipgnosis now owns 100% interest in profits made from Justin Bieber's writing and recording credits, as well as neighboring rights, otherwise known as any money made from public plays of the songs in restaurants, stores, etc. His recorded masters, however, will continue to be owned by Universal Music Group in perpetuity. The sale included all 290 songs released before December 31st, 2021. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the publishing assets were appraised at $140 million at the time, but Justin Bieber's team, which included Scooter Braun, got the price up by $60 million. This deal was geared towards putting Justin Bieber in a position of financial security. One person described it as the largest nest egg in music history. But on the outside looking in, this made little to no sense. Artists usually need to own their masters because it gives them control over how their work is distributed and monetized. When artists have ownership over their masters, that artist has the final say on their music's legacy. That being said, some music industry insiders claimed to The Hollywood Reporter that the sale of Justin's masters could be a smart strategic move. Someone who helped put together the deal told The Hollywood Reporter making millions of dollars a year versus somewhere around 15 times that amount up front is not the same freedom. With the money up front, you're free to plan in a way where you don't have to be beholden to anyone else. You don't necessarily have to go on tour or make another record if that's not how you want to spend the next few years. You can then afford to take some risks on yourself. For Justin, I think that was the motivation. He had ill health and was at a time in his life where he was married and very in love and contemplating family. Making the deal gave him the freedom to focus on that and not have to be on the treadmill he'd been on for almost 15 years. Many speculated that Justin sold his masters because he was going broke. More specifically, The Hollywood Reporter had an article titled Justin Bieber's Crisis of Faith, which alleged that Justin's cancellation of his Justice World Tour triggered a series of financial consequences that are still plaguing the artist today. The article further alleged that Justin owed a large debt to tour promoter AEG, an estimated $20 million of the $40 million advance he received. Although there's a lot of speculation about what could possibly be going on that led Justin to sell his masters, it's my personal opinion that yes, while selling your masters relinquishes your artistic freedom on the songs that you've already produced or made, it does give you freedom in your current life and what you choose to do with it. Not only does it give Justin financial freedom, but because he sold his work, he isn't beholden to management. He's not forced to do things like constantly go on touring in order to bring money in, which would require living life away from family and any sense of stability. Something I think is really interesting is throughout this entire story, the most often when these artists enter rehab is in the middle of when they're touring. When they go through a mental health crisis is right in the middle of when they're on their world tours. So it's pretty clear from that fact alone that touring is extremely unhealthy on these artists. While there could be a lot of factors at play when it comes to Justin's decision to sell his masters. I think at the base of it, Justin wanted to live an authentic life and have the freedom to do that, which seems to be the thing he's the most focused on currently. I think I hate myself sometimes when I feel myself start to become inauthentic. Then I remember we're all being made to think we're not enough, but I still hate when I change myself to please people. But right at the time when you'd think Justin would be the happiest, the most free, and his relationship would be the most positive, boom, a 7-part documentary series comes out about Hailey Bieber being a stalker. Selena Gomez announces her engagement, and to the public, it seems like things completely crumble and fall apart. The ultimate fan war. In 2024, blind items start coming out that the Biebers' marriage was rocky and heading towards divorce, foreshadowing the storm to come. Though Hailey Bieber probably could sense it and tried to get ahead of the story. Just FYI, the stories and the constant blind items I see on TikTok are 100% of the time wrong, made out of thin air, come from the land of delusion. So I know it may be fun feeding into these stories, but just know they're always false. Sorry to spoil it. The couple went on soon after to announce their first pregnancy, but little did they know, soon after they gave birth and Hailey was dealing with the aftermath of becoming a new mom, they were about to be bombarded with a 7-part series. It was apparently originally a YouTube video turned into a 7-part series on TikTok, going into extreme detail about how Hailey was an alleged stalker obsessed with Justin and Selena.
Let's talk about this 7-part series that is currently going around about Hailey Bieber and her obsession with Selena Gomez. Yes, I know we're bringing back this conversation. We are tired, yes, but it's going viral. So 6 months ago, this YouTube channel, Internet Oddities, posted a video titled Hailey Bieber's Dangerous Decade-Long Obsession. And this video is all about Hailey basically being obsessed with Selena Gomez and trying to be with Justin Bieber. This YouTube video was cut up this week and it was put on TikTok into a 7-part series, and it has gone viral. Everyone is talking about it and they think Hailey is a freak.
Before we get into some of these details in this 7-part series, the strangest thing about this is much of this information isn't new information. In fact, almost 2 years ago, this exact same controversy happened, except the situation was painted more so as Hailey Bieber being a mean girl. And if you've been a subscriber of this channel for that long, you probably remember a video I did about the situation. I tried my best to cover both sides in as unbiased and empathetic of a way as possible, and it seemed that much of those allegations blew over and the Bieber family moved on. And yet, this year, everything resurfaced, except it wasn't just painted as Hailey Bieber being a mean girl, but actually that Hailey Bieber was an obsessed stalker, a virtually deranged stalker, hell-bent on being with Justin Bieber. While we have presented in this video information that certainly showcases that Hailey was infatuated with Justin Bieber for quite some time, even when Justin was certainly stringing her along, the series showcases a different side. That from a young age, Hailey was an obsessed fangirl, utilizing her Nepo baby privilege to get as close to Justin as possible, so she could weasel her way in between him and Selena and get close to his heart. This all started back in 2009, when Hailey's father introduced her to Justin backstage at the Today Show.
My name's Steve. And the third song, how you doing, bro? This is my daughter Hailey. The third song is we've been enjoying your music.
Thank you. I think I met you briefly.
The first song.
Airport, Detroit Airport.
Oh yeah.
You said randomly that you like my
He met you when you first started out.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Your wife and you were shooting a movie in Detroit.
I could have been, man. Absolutely. Hey, man, what's your name?
Ryan, man. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Steve Baldwin. Well, I see where the videos, dude. I produced this skateboard video. Yeah, man. So I wanted to give you a copy, homie.
Thank you.
All right.
The media portrayed this as a fan who could not wait to meet her idol. But when you watch the clip, Hailey did not seem like an obsessed fan, a diehard fan who could not wait to meet Justin Bieber. In fact, when Scooter Braun asked Hailey if she wanted to take a picture with Justin, Hailey said no thanks.
You want a picture? Ryan Summer from England.
Justin himself said that Hailey did not want to be there and did not care for him.
She did not want to be there. For the most young girls though back in the day, it was like, we're going to see Justin Bieber, tight, let's go. She was got there, her eyes were closed. She was like,
nice to meet you. Like, she didn't care at all.
Hailey herself claimed that at the time, Justin was new. He was a new artist, and she didn't really know a lot about him when she first met him.
Were you a believer?
No, to be honest, this is the truth. He was so new that I didn't really know a lot about him.
Which was true. At the time that Justin Bieber first appeared on the Today Show on October 12th of 2009, he had only released 2 singles. One Time, which was sitting at the bottom of the Hot 100 chart, and One Less Lonely Girl, which had only come out a few days earlier from that appearance. Due to her family's numerous connections, the Baldwins were invited to a ton of red carpets for early releases. In 2011, Hailey appeared in Cody Simpson's music video for On My Mind. The Baldwins were later invited to the Monte Carlo premiere. On the red carpet, the interviewer asks Hailey about being in the music video with Cody and has her hold up the magazine with Cody Simpson on the cover. The magazine cover just so happened to have a photo of Jelena on the cover as well. So when Hailey posed for a photo with the magazine, that 7-part series somehow took that and made it seem like she went to a red carpet and brought that magazine so that she could pose on the red carpet with a photo of Jelena. That was used as evidence of her being an obsessed fan of Jelena. Now, if you were a stalker-obsessed super fan, hell-bent on getting with Justin Bieber, why would you go to a red carpet with a pop magazine with a tiny photo of Jelena and pose for that in a photo? To me, the logic doesn't make sense, but maybe that's just because I have never been a super stalker fan. After Justin grew significantly in popularity, Hailey was also captured attending the Never Say Never premiere. Hailey also made a few tweets expressing her admiration for Jelena. As we've discussed earlier in this video, so many young teen girls idolized the Jelena relationship. It is hard for me personally to label someone an obsessed stalker off of a few handful of tweets. Instead, it makes me sympathize with Justin and Selena that they were at such a level of fame that even other famous people were parasocially involved in their lives. If Hailey was such an obsessed stalker as people have made her out to be, I would imagine someone who would refuse to be in any other relationship, just solely had her heart set out for Justin Bieber. But Hailey dated a lot of other people at that time, like singer Austin Mahone and Brazilian model Jessie Stevens. Ultimately, in my opinion, Hailey is a very pretty but also privileged Nepo baby who was once a fan of different celebrities but was able to utilize her privilege, wealth, and connections into turning her fantasies and fandoms into reality. And ultimately, that is something that most people will never be able to do. But also, that might not be a case of stalking exactly. It might just be a case of privilege. There are very serious cases of stalking, and it literally ruins people's lives. So while it can be really funny to laugh at these situations, the transformation of Hailey's life and some of the very embarrassing things that she's done when she was younger, calling it stalking could minimize the word, which is very damaging. Recently, fans have been posting further evidence of Hailey copying Selena in an attempt to show that Hailey is obsessed with Jelena.
Hailey has a tendency to copy Selena's outfits and poses. Fans have dug up many examples of Hailey posting photos shortly after Selena where she's either wearing the same exact outfit or something very similar.
Same exact outfit.
Yeah.
The pictures of Hailey having similar facial expressions to Selena, as well as wearing similar outfits, sent chills down the spines of many. However, it's important to note that one singular person cannot own a facial expression or an outfit, especially if their style or their facial expressions aren't that unique. If you're not doing Jim Carrey level facial expressions or the band Kiss level style, then it's pretty hard to say that someone is copying you. Also, many celebrities work with stylists when putting together an outfit, especially for major events where they're going to be photographed. So it's pretty unlikely that either Hailey or Selena pick their outfits themselves.
I just want to give some examples of what's actually shown in the video just so we can slow everything down, because what happens in this video is you get a bunch of images in quick succession, and I imagine to the human brain that maybe isn't super critical in the moment, you go, oh, these photos do look similar. Maybe she is copying. Some of the examples shown of Hailey supposedly copying Selena include Selena wearing a white singlet with red lipstick one day, then Hailey wearing a white singlet with different straps, might I add, different thickness of straps with no red lipstick the next day. So just a white singlet.
So I'm in a white singlet today.
I might wear one tomorrow and I'm fucking copying you.
And that has moved from enthusiastic to obsessive. That's when you cross the line.
Another example of the quote-unquote copying shows both women in sheer white dresses. Selena wore a sheer white dress in the year 2016. Hailey wore a sheer white dress 3 years later in 2019. Another example is a backwards cap and sunglasses. Selena did that in 2019. Hailey did it 5 years later in 2024. So I'm not sure what our definition of shortly after is, but if you took any two people on the planet, if I took you, Gil, and you, Zaz, and compared all your outfits over the years, despite you both actually having different styles, I would say, I'm sure I could find multiple examples where you look like you're copying each other.
Yeah, of course, especially when we're not talking about anything particularly groundbreaking here.
I am so sorry, but could it in fact maybe be that both of these women's styles are a little bit basic? I have had to humble myself, as I'm sure we all have, when I've thought that maybe someone copied me, and I've had to realize that maybe I'm just a basic bitch. One situation that I think is really important to touch on is in regards to the G tattoo. Not necessarily because of the copying, but because of what ended up coming out after the fact. In 2015, Selena got a tattoo of the initial G underneath her ear in tribute to her younger sister, Gracie. 12 days later, Hailey got a G tattoo behind her neck as well. On the surface, that looks pretty bad. Pretty strange. Yet Hailey claims that her tattoo was in homage to her pastor Chad Veach's daughter, whose name is Georgia, and who is battling a serious condition.
So Justin Bieber, he's back in LA, right? So he starts hanging out with this guy Chad Veach. Now Chad Veach has his own church. And Chad Veach was implicated in the Hillsong money laundering scandal, where they were basically paying these exorbitant speaker prices to have people come speak at their churches, and Chad Veach was one of those people. He was getting like $250,000 to be a guest pastor, things like that. So so Chad Veach is not very, let's say he's not on the up and up. There's also a video of him, Justin Bieber, and Carl Lentz at the Hillsong conference that is uncomfortable to say the least. And those men are not sober. I don't care what you tell me.
Also, this TikToker is referencing a conference in which Chad, Carl, and Justin don't appear sober. And she's referencing this conference in which Justin Bieber is constantly bringing up his orange off-white boots.
Obviously the worship, the creativity, but I think like Carl was saying, some of the most powerful moments of conference have happened outside of conference.
So I want to see more of the kids in conference with these boots, though.
You want
The thing is, at face value, initially it's like, okay, Hailey got a G tattoo at the same spot as Selena only 12 days after Selena. Yeah, sure, you got it because of your pastor's daughter. But what makes this credible is the fact that dozens of celebrities, Justin included, as well as Hailey, got G tattoos in honor of Chad Veach's daughter, Georgia. Chad Veach did an entire collage post on Instagram of all the various celebrities who have gotten tattoos in honor of his daughter using the initial G. What's that like? That kind of feels like a brand. Justin also has a G tattoo. A fitness trainer named Julia received the same exact tattoo as Hailey, which has the same font, same placement, which is slightly different than Selena's. This G stands for Georgia, in honor of at Chad Veach and at Julia Veach's daughter. Georgia is an incredible and strong girl, just like her parents. Thank you both for the church they go to and for continuing to inspire me. So it does seem very credible that the reason why Hailey got this tattoo was because actually a bunch of celebrities got it because of their pastor. So now a ton of celebrities are walking around with G's on them, tattoos that they're going to have for the rest of their life because of this pastor's daughter. Does anyone think that's actually way more creepy? The fact that all of these celebrities got the G branded tattoo because of this pastor's daughter? That feels far more strange to me than just this idea that Hailey might have been copying Selena Gomez. I'm sorry, I don't care what the reason is. Getting someone's initial branded onto your skin for your entire life, because tattoos are for life unless you get it removed. Not even that person's initials, but their daughter's initials for that matter. Because that person is your church leader feels straight up cultish. There. I said it. In 2022, Hailey released a cooking show on her YouTube channel that felt strikingly similar to Selena Gomez's cooking show. Both women filmed their cooking shows in their homes and had their grandmothers on as special guests.
Hey guys, usually I'm the one learning in the kitchen, but right now I'm going to teach you all something. This recipe is one of my favorite childhood dishes, and Nana and I thought it would be fun to share it with you. So Nana, what do we call this?
Cheesy tortilla chip casserole.
What's up, you guys? It's Hailey, and welcome to another episode of What's in My Kitchen. I'm very excited because today is the first time I'm having any guests on the show, and I'm even more excited because those two guests are my mom and my Nana. Please welcome them. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Hailey's mom. I'm Kenya. Eu sou a mãe da Hailey, Kenya.
Eu sou a vovozinha da Hailey.
And what's your name?
Nana Ruth.
Nana Ruth.
Ruth.
This is my Nana Ruth. This is my mom, Kenya.
I have to be honest. I feel like celebrities and famous people have to continually leverage their fame to make more money. How do they do that? They come out with brands where they're really just the face of that brand, whether it's a drink brand, a cosmetics company, a clothing brand, a show, or a podcast. Most famous people do all of those things. For example, both Hailey and Selena came out with their own versions of a cosmetics company, but also so did the Kardashians. You could put any two random celebrities and find some sort of random business thing that they did that's in common. And you could probably point fingers and claim that one copied the other, but really it's just that there's a handful of business things that a celebrity can do to try and make more money and profit off of their fame. And one of those things is a cooking show. While Selena Gomez's cooking show was released 2 years before Hailey's cooking show, during the pandemic, Hailey was already experimenting with the idea of cooking and posting it on social media. In response to the ongoing backlash of Hailey being problematic and stocky towards Selena Gomez, Hailey and Justin fans have come out with allegations of Selena exhibiting problematic behavior. Immediately after Justin and Hailey got married, Selena released a song titled Lose You to Love Me. This song was based around her past relationship with Justin Bieber, with lyrics like, "In 2 months you replaced us," which as an artist, she is certainly entitled to write about her past relationships. She also told Zach Sang in a podcast that she wanted Justin Bieber to listen to the song. Then, in an interesting choice, in 2022, Selena Gomez threw a solo wedding for herself as a sort of birthday party theme. And she hired the exact photographer that the Biebers used for their wedding. The photographer is relatively unknown with only a little over 50,000 followers on Instagram. It's not like this photographer is mega famous. So Selena would have definitely had to specifically seek out this photographer to use them. Hailey's supporters have also tried to show evidence of Selena copying Hailey's outfits, but as we've already gone over, this whole notion is ridiculous in itself. Outfits and style, when you are a celebrity of that status, is usually carefully constructed by a team, with pieces put together based on that celebrity's brand and certain fashion trends. It just seems like in general, fan bases are curating circumstance evidence to fit certain narratives. As someone with an outside perspective who has a certain amount of respect yet wariness for both women involved, Hailey and Selena, but was also never a fan and would not describe myself as a fan of either of them, I've noticed a particular phenomenon happening in present day where when one woman's career flourishes, the other woman's career flounders, and vice versa. If one of the women is in controversy, then the other woman's career is flourishing. It's almost like because Justin Bieber dated them so close together and sort of pitted them against one another, now all the way to present day, their fan bases are pitted against one another. Even their very careers are pitted against one another. It all feels very broadly misogynistic, all because years ago they both wanted the same man. And I'll be honest, it makes me kind of disappointed in society. I kind of wish we were all better than that. In December of 2024, Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco announced their engagement, sharing an Instagram photo of the wedding ring and the proposal, which included Taco Bell, and the caption, "Forever begins now."
Fantastic news, you got engaged.
Yeah.
That's the best. Come on! Oh, I love that! You're two of the nicest, coolest people, creative people. Here it is. Online you posted, "Forever begins now." Ah, beautiful. And Taylor Swift said, yes, I will be the flower girl.
After Selena started posting about the engagement, this kickstarted what many called Justin Bieber's crash out. He started posting a lot on Instagram, and a lot of fans couldn't help but read into his posts as being cryptic messages geared towards Selena. And honestly, I'm not even disinclined to believe them. Is that how the saying goes? Since it seems that Justin and Selena have always communicated and posted about each other through Instagram.
Justin Bieber reposted this story to his Instagram 8 hours ago, and y'all can't tell me that this is not in reference to Selena's engagement. Ever since Selena announced her engagement to Benny Blanco back in December, Justin's been posting things like this on his Instagram, and it's weird because of the choice of music he decided to put behind it. He also posted this 2 days ago, and I cannot help but think that he was talking about the album that Selena just released with Benny Blanco. Listen to the music behind this one. He posted this on his Instagram, and it's two birds, and then at the end one of the birds flies away, and I can't help but think he's referencing to him and Selena here as well, just because of the music that he puts behind it. Listen to this music real quick. There's definitely a lot more posts that he posted that are kind of weird, but I thought this one was very strange because of the music behind this one as well. He's being very cryptic, so it's all in the music, I think. Now, this is obviously just my own conclusion about everything that's been happening between them, but if you guys agree with me or think something else, let me know in the comments.
Selena and Benny's engagement announcement came in quick succession to the stalking allegations, as well as the announcement to Selena Gomez's new album. And soon after, reports started surfacing that Justin and Hailey were having trouble in their marriage. On January 21st, 2025, Justin unfollowed Hailey on Instagram and then quickly refollowed her, claiming that someone else unfollowed her from his Instagram. Someone went on my account and unfollowed my wife. Shiz is getting sus out here. Then on March 31st, Justin deactivated his Instagram account for 17 minutes. Though it is bizarre that people know exactly how long Justin deactivated his Instagram account. When he returned to Instagram, Hailey was reportedly no longer following him, though Hailey claimed that this was a glitch.
Guys are saying that Hailey Bieber unfollowed Justin. I went to her page to check. And yes, it does say that she isn't following him right now on her Instagram, but I think that this could just be a delay because he did deactivate from his 17-minute deactivation on Instagram. I think that it could just be a lag on his followers.
I just know that Hailey Bieber has a major beef with Instagram over the fact that it looks like she unfollowed Justin Bieber on Instagram. A lot of people have been posting about the fact that it looked like she unfollowed him, and she replied to someone and said, "It's a glitch, didn't unfollow him, hope this helps."
After all of these rumors about Justin and Hailey being on the rocks, Justin and Hailey were seen at Coachella together, showing a united front, dancing and seeming to be pretty happy, meaning possibly this was all just a media frenzy. However, even this appearance at Coachella generated controversy. A video went viral showing Hailey driving Justin and his friends around in a CRU vehicle, with Justin sitting all the way in the back as Hailey's up front driving everyone around. Online people were criticizing this, saying that Justin was just treating Hailey like his personal Uber driver.
Looks like Justin Bieber and Hailey are both headed to Coachella, as she was seen driving him and his friends around today. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, these photos are so funny. Like, they are just straight up like driving in the road with this vehicle, and Hailey is just like chauffeuring them around. Like, I'm just wondering what she's thinking about everything that is going on with his socials. Like, if she's like rooting him on and everything that he's posting. I mean, she's gotta be, if she's like down to like drive him and his friends around. And I'm sure he's like recording every little second of this to later post on Instagram. But there is just something about this that is totally sending me.
I think the funniest comment I saw was that Hailey driving Justin around was her being in her masculine with Justin rather than her being in her feminine. Honestly speaking, I've always wanted to drive a golf cart personally, and that vehicle just looked like a bigger version of a golf cart. It is just weird to me that a short clip of Hailey driving around a vehicle like that is being used as an example to psychoanalyze her marriage to Justin Bieber. It's like taking using the concept of a passenger princess as a psychological definition and term, and then using it to spell doom for the entire relationship of the Biebers, because there was a time when Hailey Bieber was in fact not the passenger princess. But in a more serious note, on top of all of the articles mentioning concerns over Justin and Hailey's relationship, concerns started popping up over Justin's behavior. People claiming that Justin may be in a mental health crisis due to his social media posts, or maybe dealing with substance abuse. Articles mentioning Justin saying that he's off the rails or crashing out, like in a recent situation where Justin berated the paparazzi for not leaving him alone.
Money, 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 money. Money, get out of here, bro. Money. All you want, don't care about you. All you want is money. Go, get out of here. All you guys want is money. Money, 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 money. Money, money, money. Get out of here, bro. Okay. Get out of here, money. That's all you care about, money? That's all you care about, guys. It's money. You don't care about people. Only money. Only money. No people. You don't care about human beings. Go. Go. Go.
Or when Justin needed support just to be able to stand at Coachella, or was acting strangely at an event when talking to another person. Justin also posted a live stream on his Instagram that seemed pretty off to many viewers, with a lot of people commenting that they thought he was on substances. Justin Bieber's representative told TMZ that he's busy making music and being a dad. Suggestions to the contrary about his mental and physical health, the representative told TMZ, are exhausting and pitiful, and shows that despite the obvious truth, people are committed to keeping negative, salacious, and harmful narratives alive. I think that there are two ways I could perpetuate harmful information when speaking about or speculating on Justin Bieber's recent behavior. The first way is through claiming or insinuating that I know anything about what's going on. At the end of the day, there are a lot of things that could be mentally and physically going on with Justin Bieber. That being said, I do want to say that the particular events of this story and the fact that Justin, as well as a lot of people within his close circle, have openly spoken about struggling with addiction in the past, which is a lifelong disease and doesn't ever just completely disappear from someone's life, statistically, flat out statistically, just means that's a strong contender for when Justin Bieber is exhibiting odd behavior. I don't think that's something necessarily out of pocket to say. I also think when speaking on enabling behavior, which is something that I personally am learning about right now in therapy with my own family life situations, it can be really harmful to just tiptoe around Justin's behavior and act like the way he behaves is anything but odd or harmful or abnormal. That feels like a weird public version of enabling. If you need to lean on someone to be able to dance at Coachella, if your entire fan base can notice that something is visibly wrong with you, you are not okay. But to be as fair as possible, much like with all the information coming out so suddenly with Hailey being a stalker, it feels like much of the information about Justin being in a major crisis could be taken out of context. Like, for example, when it comes to how Justin interacted with the paparazzi, as we've seen throughout this video, and Justin's entire history of interacting with the paparazzi, Justin has always been that way. So the real question is, why is all this negative information about Justin and Hailey? The negative online opinions about Hailey Bieber has gotten so bad that TMZ reported she's considering taking legal action. Rumors of a hate campaign and the fact that this is all manufactured were even further validated when Francesca Farrago claimed she was offered a decent amount of money to take part in a social media campaign called Met by Chance. This campaign involves girlfriends joking about how they met their partners by chance, when in reality they stalked them, mocking Hailey Bieber.
I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's basically everyone's calling themselves Hailey Bieber because they stalked their man or whatever, their man, and that's how they got him or whatever. So sometimes me and Jesse get paid to do a trend on TikTok that wants to like push a narrative. Who knows? Is paying creators to do that trend. Like making fun of Hailey. And I think that is so mean. I just think that, like, if it's a trend that's taking off on its own, whatever. But the fact that they're paying creators to do the trend, to like, but I was just like I got offered to do it. And they offered me a decent amount of money to do it. And I was like, no.
So I found the article that regarding the video. Okay, so she's a huge influencer on TikTok. Her name is Francesca Frago, and she's saying that she was offered a lot of money to mock Hailey Bieber. You know, I was getting this sense. You know, you say sixth sense? I was getting a sense that something is wrong. I mean, one thing is bullying or trying to, get your point across, but this was getting out of hand. The hate for Hailey, I felt, in my opinion, was just out of the roof. It was too much.
Okay, this is for the girls that have had their own personal Hailey Bieber, and by that, I use that term ever so lightly because I just think it's so funny that there's this much evidence, and it's crazy that they're like deny because it's like, baby girl, it's like right in front of our face. But anyway,
when you've had a Hailey and a Justin in your life, then this series kind of hits different.
There's tons of online videos of people saying how they have their own Hailey Bieber in their life. Now, here's where things get really interesting. I mentioned earlier in this video the Hollywood Reporter article. The woman who wrote Justin Bieber's Crisis of Faith for the Hollywood Reporter is Shirley Halperin. Shirley is mutuals with Stephanie Jones on Instagram, meaning they both follow each other. Justin Bieber's former manager, who he ousted and is no longer working with, Scooter Braun, also follows both women on Instagram. So Scooter Braun follows Stephanie Jones, who might be behind this entire PR orchestrated event, and Scooter Braun is also following Shirley Halperin, who made the Justin Crisis of Faith Hollywood Reporter article. This possibly supports the theory that Scooter Braun could be behind this entire orchestrated event, creating the negative publicity for the Bieber name. When reading through the article from the Hollywood Reporter, I also find it extremely fascinating that the article does not mention the depth of Scooter Braun's controversies. And in fact, the Hollywood Reporter article speaks very highly of Scooter Braun, saying he's a businessman who knows how to make money and is nothing like the slimy music managers of the past. He's nothing like the infamous Lou Pearlman. And the person who wrote the article seems to have a connection with him and the PR agency running a takedown of Justin Bieber. But could that all just be a coincidence? I mean, to be fair, just off of people following each other and seeming kind of biased in an article, does that speak to a connection there? Who knows? Candace Owens' own theory when it comes to this PR orchestration is that it all relates back to Justin Bieber's masters, similar to how Michael Jackson battled the music industry for his own masters. In the early 2000s, Michael Jackson publicly accused Sony Music of exploiting artists. He claimed the label deliberately held back promotion of the album to try and get him to renegotiate terms or to exert control over his work and image. Jackson acquired ATV Music in the early 1980s, which included the rights to many Beatles songs. Later, this catalog merged with Sony's publishing division, becoming Sony ATV, one of the most powerful music publishing companies in the world. MJ managed a significant portion, but Sony had increasing influence over the catalog, and Michael Jackson believed that Sony was trying to push him out of ownership, which is probably what they were trying to do, because if that was one of the most powerful and influential music catalogs out there, and Michael Jackson owned a significant shares, it makes sense that Sony might want to get him out so that they could have control of the majority ownership. MJ went as far as to call Sony's then chairman Tony Mottola devilish, accusing him of racism and manipulation.
Black artists have been taken advantage of completely. And it's time now that we have to put a stop to this incredible injustice. These artists are always on tour because if they stop touring, they would totally go broke.
MJ claimed that the music industry was corrupt and rigged against artists, especially Black artists, who often signed exploitative contracts without understanding the long-term consequences. According to Candace Owens, Justin Bieber doesn't care about the money and wants out of Hollywood, but executives want to destroy his family because it's the reason he's had the strength to walk away.
I'm told that Justin Bieber, just like Michael Jackson, is engaged in a war against musical executives, except the musical executives have gotten smarter over time. He wants out of Hollywood. He does not care about the money. He wants out.
This may mean that Justin Bieber sold his masters as an attempt to walk away from the industry completely and wipe his hands from what he felt were undue influences. And honestly, his latest actions have aligned with that possibility. The Hollywood Reporter also alleged that in January, Justin Bieber unfollowed a ton of his former connections, unfollowing Scooter Braun, Allison Kay, Scooter Braun's business partner, Ryan Good, the co-founder of Justin's clothing line Drew, and longtime security chief Kenny Hamilton. The now controversial, or at least questionable, Hollywood Reporter article quoted a source from an alleged ex-teen member who said about Justin's complete cleanse of his inner circle, "Seeing him disintegrate like this, it's watching the embodiment of someone not living their purpose. He's lost. There's no one protecting him because there's no one willing to say no to him. You say no, you get blown out." Though the influences of the article are uncertain, it's not completely unfathomable. It's not completely implausible to think that Justin might be just surrounding himself with yes men and enablers based on the information that's already known. While Justin has frequently posted about his clothing company Drew House, which he co-founded with former stylist Ryan Good in 2018, recently he cut ties with the brand completely, as well as his former friend Ryan Good, who he also unfollowed. Ryan Good was Justin Bieber's best man at Justin's wedding, but on April 10th of 2025, Justin announced he was completely severing ties with his clothing brand Drew House. In an Instagram story, Justin wrote, "I, Justin Bieber, am no longer involved in this brand. Drew House doesn't represent me or my family or life. If you're rocking with me, the human Justin Bieber, don't waste your money on Drew House." This announcement came after Justin Bieber had already unfollowed Ryan Good on social media and announced a new upcoming clothing company called, I want to say it's called Skylark. It's spelled like it would be called Skylark. On April 3rd, Justin announced the news of his fashion brand with a video directed by 3D artist Gal Yosef, which shows an animated Justin Bieber riding an electric scooter, which starts to break down, seemingly representing Scooter Braun. He then goes into a house that he burns down. In the house are items that it seems like Justin Bieber is trying to leave behind in the past, including the smiley face logo of the Drew House clothing line. Outside, waiting for him while the house goes up in flames, is an animated Hailey Bieber, as well as a stroller. Justin and Hailey kiss and walk towards a setting sun holding hands, away from the burning house. I don't know why, I feel like this is something that a child would sort of dream up. But anyways, Justin has since posted more upcoming teasers of his brand Skylark. This does bring up the nature of publicity. When it comes to Bieber acting out, throughout his entire career, his misbehavior has garnered him so much publicity, even though it has been negative. Even this recent negative press has caused Justin's name to circulate more frequently in the media, which could cause more publicity for his clothing brand and upcoming business ventures. If you're under the belief that all publicity is good publicity, that could also be a tactic that you'd go for, but that's just simply speculation. Again, asking the question, why all this negative publicity now? Justin's recent behavior has left the public, and apparently even those within Justin's former close circle, confused, as well as concerned for him, according to reports. Ryan Good, Justin's longtime friend or former friend and former co-founder of Drew, is allegedly convinced that Justin is a part of a cult, and that Judah Smith, Justin's longtime pastor, that we know has been behind the scenes of Justin's entire career at this point, is now controlling Justin. According to TMZ, so of course take this information as you will, sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ, Ryan Good hasn't spoken to Justin in over a year. He stopped speaking to Justin around the time he decided to leave Church Home, and sources say that Ryan Good decided that Church Home was a cult and he wanted out. So he decided to leave the church, and Justin getting so close to Judah Smith was a huge factor in Ryan Good deciding to leave the church. One thing that may have added to the growing tension was when Justin Bieber decided to add Judah Smith to the board of Drew House, his clothing brand. Judah Smith being a pastor, you must ask, what does he know about running a clothing company? That being said, the other side of this story is that there were 5 members on the board of Drew House: Scooter Braun, Ryan Good, Justin Bieber, another man, and Judah Smith. This other man ended up getting accused of murder.
One of the board members of Drew House, a music exec named David Bolno, was revealed or was announced as a person of interest by police.
Right. A young woman, a young singer, was found dead in a hotel room that he had paid for. He was completely cleared.
And Justin Bieber wanted him off of the board.
So there's 5 people that were on the board. It was Justin Bieber, Scooter, David Bolno, this music exec that was named a person of interest, which, by the way, he was cleared. Ryan Good, who was Justin's best man at his wedding. And the last person was Judah Smith, the pastor that Justin is very much involved with. So when the story came out that David Bolno was a person of interest, I'm being told that Justin did not want David on the board anymore. However, Scooter had defended David, kept him on the board. Like I mentioned, David was later cleared, but I'm told that this is kind of what sparked the issues between Justin and Scooter on Drew House.
This man was eventually cleared, but the circumstances surrounding the entire thing were highly suspicious from what I've read about the entire thing. Apparently, Judah Smith was the only one to side with Justin Bieber about agreeing to have this man leave the board. Ryan Good and Scooter Braun did not want this man, who was the leading suspect in a murder case, to leave the board of Drew House. This, according to other sources, is what led to a huge split.
A battle between different factions in Justin's life. People who had been around him, particularly when he launched his Drew House clothing label, and people who are no longer around him. And a lot of this centers around Justin's relationship with his new pastor. I shouldn't say new, he's been with him
for a while. Judah, his name is Judah.
This entire story feels like a culmination of everything that has happened in this video thus far. Throughout Justin's entire life, there's been a constant power struggle over him. Justin Bieber, his name, his brand, his image has become so famous, so powerful. People know even just being associated with Justin Bieber means immense power for them. They've tried to utilize the Bieber name and image to impart their will and increase their power. And 2 warring factions throughout Justin's entire life have been at a constant struggle for his power: the music industry and the church. Both sides have been able to use Justin Bieber's name and image to build up their business, as well as make millions of dollars off of him. But it seems like now, as Justin Bieber is looking to simplify his life, as well as focus on his family, these warring factions realized there can only be one winner. So a war broke out, fighting over Justin's power and influence. That is my interpretation of what's taken place within the Bieber empire. And it's wild to see how fame can not only affect the person, but the people around them. And now we're seeing the aftermath of this power struggle. When it comes to the possibility of Judah Smith running a cult or controlling Justin Bieber, the phrase absolute power corrupts absolutely comes to mind. It feels like throughout Justin's time in the spotlight, he's felt a need to have good influences in his life, or at least a good influence, who he can turn to whenever he has questions and whenever he's in need. In essence, Justin desperately wants someone he can trust in a world where he can trust so few people. Now Justin seems to think that Judah Smith is that person, so he's inviting him into all of his businesses, his company boards, everything he does. In Justin's mind, Judah is a man of God who's known him since he was a young boy and has never steered him wrong, who's never walked away from him. But again, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Giving only one person so much power and control in your life seems like a recipe for disaster. Not that the other people within Justin's close circle ever really seemed like better options or better people. But here's where things start to get a little bit weird, and my eyebrows definitely get raised. The part where I really start to wonder about all of these claims of the cultish aspect is the Lou Taylor of it all. If you're familiar with Lou Taylor, you might be wondering how the heck Lou Taylor fits into the story of Justin Bieber and a mega church. If you're not, you're probably wondering what in the world I'm talking about. So let me explain. There is a strange web of connections between Hollywood, the music industry, and these mega churches, as well as celebrities like the Kardashians, the Jenner family, the Biebers, and all of their businesses.
Is there anything else that you guys watch? Are you like fans of The Bachelor?
We watched The Bachelor, yeah. He was at church the other night.
No, he wasn't. I missed that.
Yeah, you missed I went up to him, I was like, I feel like I know you.
You know me, and we go to the same church, and you didn't text me and be like, yo, Pilot Pete is here.
I had no idea that you liked him.
When you add in things like matching tattoos, encouraging celebrities to marry each other within the church, yeah. I'm starting to get a little bit sketched out. When you start to look at Hillsong as a whole and all the different churches connected off of Hillsong, like Church Home, Chad Veach's church, ZOE or Zoe Church, and then examine the amount of celebrities who have had these pastors associated with these churches officiate their weddings, it's really interesting how connected these two worlds are.
Guys who are in this multicultiverse who have officiated the weddings for celebrities. We have Judah Smith from Church Home. He officiated Justin and Hailey's wedding. We have, Kim and Kanye's wedding was officiated by Rich Wilkerson Jr. We have Chloe and Lamar's weddings that were officiated by Joel Johnson, who is in the Hillsong multiverse.
That being said, I am not an expert on cults, and there may be no such thing happening with this situation. Also, when it comes to shady business dealings involving Lou Taylor, I'm not exactly an expert in that. I've covered a lot of situations, but I can't say for certain exactly what has taken place. So now let's get into the Lou Taylor of it all. Lou Taylor rose to infamy as Britney Spears' business manager in 2008. And was her business manager from 2008 to 2020. Celebrities have business managers because basically they have millions and millions of dollars and they need someone to manage all that money and also make more money from all the money. Tell them where to funnel it all into, what to invest, where to throw money at a new skincare line, those things. Lou Taylor is someone that helps them with all of that. But also, when it came to Britney Spears, Lou Taylor did so much worse than that, as Lou Taylor has been accused as the primary person who orchestrated putting Britney Spears under a conservatorship, all for the purpose of financially exploiting Britney Spears. Also, it should be noted that Lou Taylor is heavily involved in all of these churches, and it's been alleged that Lou Taylor would essentially take the money that she made off of this conservatorship from Britney Spears and funnel it into her churches to essentially obscure the money.
Not pictured on this graph is Lou Taylor, who also is tied to kind of everybody as well, including Britney Spears and the Kardashians. She's also in this like Hillsong multiverse. If you pay attention to Kanye has posted about her when he was doing his post rants because she likes to put people in conservatorships and she uses those conservatorships to make donations to her church in the name of the people who are in the conservatorships, like she did with Britney Spears.
Lou Taylor is also the CEO of Tri Sports and Entertainment Group. This is the company where she essentially manages the finances of celebrities. Her clients for TriStar include Jamie Lynn Spears, Steven Tyler, Mary J. Blige, Gwen Stefani, and tons of other celebrities, most notably the Kardashian and Jenner family.
The Kardashian element of all of this is very interesting because they're really mixed up in the whole thing. Between Kendall dating Justin and her relationship with Hailey, to Kim and Kris benefiting from the church and telling people to tithe into the church, probably using it as a tax shelter. But it is notable that the people who've officiated the weddings for Kim, for Courtney, and for Chloe all have been Hillsong related pastors.
It's also really interesting how much the Kardashians come up in this story. It's also really interesting when you look into the fact that Kris Jenner started her own church off of connections she had with Hillsong and Lou Taylor.
You founded your own church?
My mom did.
Your mom did, yeah.
Brad Johnson came from Calvary Church, but he had a huge scandal. There were some intoxicants that he wasn't supposed to have, and some women he wasn't supposed to be unclothed with. When Kris Jenner was like, oh, I think I want to open my own church because she sees how much money is in it, she says, hey, Lou Taylor, allegedly, who do you know who could help me open my church? Lou Taylor says, oh, you got to talk to Brad Johnson. Brad Johnson's working at a literal Starbucks. Kris Jenner walks in. She says, hey, do you want a job? He says, yeah, and he's running California Community Church, Kris Jenner's church, and marrying Kim and Kris, officiating that wedding. So, you know, if you wanted to start a church that was shady, getting somebody who's real down on their luck and desperate for a second chance, probably a good move, don't you think?
Lou Taylor and TriStar are facing even more allegations because of, you'd never guess it, Diddy. One of TriStar's employees was named in a Diddy lawsuit. This is because this employee worked as an accountant for Diddy, and allegedly this employee oversaw payments involving S workers, meaning that Lou Taylor, TriStar, or at the very least, this employee was allegedly very much aware of all the shady dealings going on with Diddy. And yet, Lou Taylor was very much involved in this entire church network. Because here's where things get even more concerning. Lou Taylor was on the board of directors for Church Home. On top of that, Lou Taylor was Justin Bieber's business manager for years. In 2022, Justin Bieber connected his companies, Bieber Time Touring LLC and Bieber Time Merchandise, with Lou Taylor's company, Tri Sports and Entertainment Group. But around the same time Justin Bieber fell out with Scooter Braun, he also decided to switch business managers, and Justin switched over to Johnny Depp's financial manager. At the same time, it was also discovered that Lou Taylor was no longer serving on the board of directors at Church Home.
I was doing some research, checking up on my culty churches like I do from time to time, and I came across a website that said that Lou Taylor was removed from Church Home's board of directors as of April 2024. This is what the board of directors of Church Home page has always looked like, and I have to scroll on my mobile app, but this is what it looks like now. Judah Smith, Mark Strong, Russell Wilson, TD Jakes, which we'll see how long that lasts, Abigail Wangum, Brian Lee, Chelsea Smith, David Kroll, and Devon Franklin. No Lou Taylor.
I do want to know, not to sound, I don't know, unhinged, but with all of the allegations of orchestrated PR, I really think it's of great import to make the connection. When Britney Spears had a falling out with Lou Taylor and tried to disengage from her conservatorship, she was brutally painted by the media as crazy and unhinged. And now a similar pattern is emerging, where Justin Bieber disconnects from both Scooter Braun and Lou Taylor. And all of a sudden, all of these articles come out that he's in financial trouble, that he's crashing out, that he's crazy, unhinged. I think it's kind of interesting. The positive thing is that Justin Bieber, as well as Judah Smith, in all fairness, walked away from business with Lou Taylor, similar to Scooter Braun. If someone does immoral acts or works with someone who's incredibly immoral and takes part in something that is probably illegal, it should be unquestionable that you disengage from doing business with them. Yet tons of other people in Hollywood still work with Lou Taylor. It's mind-blowing. With Hollywood being at the epicenter of fame and media manipulation, business executives being the powerhouses that have both fueled and destroyed many stars' careers, it's hard to trust the information circulating right now when it comes to the status of Justin Bieber. Either way, looking at who Justin Bieber has made strategic choices to remove from his businesses and personal life, I have to say, I think it's a powerful statement in Hollywood. A statement that's being under-discussed in favor of over-speculating on his mental state, rather than looking at the statement he's trying to make in who he chooses to work with right now. And I think that is the more interesting story. I also think other prominent stars should be following in Justin Bieber's example, not working with shady executives and business people who have done immoral things and screwed people over and acted in evil ways, terrible, horrible ways to other people, or worked with evil people like Diddy. Whether or not Justin Bieber is in a cult and all the strange religious ties that all seemingly circle back to Hillsong, and also somehow Lou Taylor and the Kardashians, ultimately, time will tell on that one. Though I'd love to know your opinion on the matter as well, and what you think is really going on there. And also, I hope the best mentally, physically, and I suppose spiritually for Justin Bieber and his family during this time. Conclusion. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Modern celebrity culture has allowed certain people to utilize celebrities like puppets, and behind the scenes control their businesses and empires for their own personal gain. This is not a new concept in history, so it shouldn't be surprising. Just like an orchestrated negative campaign against someone is not a new thing. But with the rise of prominent social media platforms, PR agencies and media experts are becoming more skilled at making things appear as if they're organic, instead of a pre-planned and orchestrated campaign against someone. So all of us as individual online consumers, which is what we are essentially whenever we're viewing content, need to get more skilled with practicing discernment with what we see, and ultimately not believing all of it. No matter what you're watching, always watch it with a keen eye and balanced viewpoint, because it's getting scary out there. And that's all for today's video. If you made it to the end, I hope you enjoyed it. This was a wild ride in terms of research and production. I hope that you're doing well in what's kind of a tumultuous time for everyone. If you're not, I hope you know that you're not alone. In the pinned comment down below, I'll be leaving clues for the next upcoming video. So comment your opinion on the upcoming video, what you might want to see on that topic, and that will definitely help when it comes to our researching and scripting process. In general, I hope that everyone is taking care of themselves during this time, and I'll see you in the next video. Hope you stay well until then. Bye.